It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, beautiful Cayman Islands. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. How is everybody doing this morning? It's a beautiful day in paradise. I am here with you. You're here with me. And what can I say? Except, yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Uh, we're here together. You know, when I open up my news feed and I see something utterly redunculous, I'm just like, what? How much more? How much more can we take? Oh my God. I'm not even talking about the Cayman Islands. I'm talking about things that are happening in the US. I don't even know. Yes, good morning, honey chill. Y'all doing okay? All right. Big shout out. I'm going to send out the links here in a second. Don't worry. I want to do a big shout out to all of our community groups. We've got Windsor Park. Big shout out to Heather and the team there in Windsor Park. We have Washington Boulevard. Big shout out to all the folks down in the Washington Boulevard community. We have Caymanians in Florida. These are some of the WhatsApp groups that I'm in, I should say. I don't join too many groups because I'm in smaller groups, things like family chats and so on. And quite frankly, I can only take so much chatter for the day. So I always try to remind myself, the less groups you're in, the better. Especially when it's large groups. It can be too much. Overwhelming, as they say. Which is interesting. I think I've just solved my own problem. I literally just solved the Instagram problem. You know, sometimes you got to sit with yourself. I'm a big proponent of um, meditating and silence. I think I've told you guys before, but there is one religious group that I am very, very drawn to as religions go in terms of like the group itself, and that's Quakers. I love me the concept of being a Quaker. You just show up to church, you sit on the little bench, sit in your little corner, and you just be quiet. Quiet time. You know what they say in kindergarten when my daughter was in Montessori? Silent fox. And that silent fox time is when so much can come to you. You could solve the world's problems, I feel like. Right? With your silent time. So this morning, I was here setting up the studio for the show. And they've added a new feature which I love, but it's been causing me some problems with Instagram. So yesterday I turned it off for Instagram. I said, nope, we're not going to do that. And then this morning, I was sitting here thinking to myself, because it's impacting the rollout is like across all streams. So it's Instagram, YouTube. And I said to myself, you know what? Yesterday I took it off of everything, this vertical thing. And so I took it off of Facebook. I took it off of Instagram. If you know anything about just problems in life and IT problems in particular, sometimes you have got to come up with a solution by a process of elimination. So many things in life, that's exactly how they work. It's like even being a doctor. You walk into the doctor's office and the doctor's like, you complaining about this, that, and the next thing. First thing they want to do is a clinical analysis of you. Ta-da! Instagram, we are good to go, honey child. All right, give me 1 second while I put some finishing touches on my face this morning. So, yes. So through a process of elimination, the physician kind of, let me do a clinical exam. Does it hurt here? What's the magnitude of the pain? If I rotate your knee this way, Sandy, does it hurt? If I stretch it this way, does it hurt? And then you're like, yeah, that hurts pretty bad. It's always hurting when I'm walking. Well, when did the pain start? You go through a whole process, right? A whole analysis. And then sometimes they need additional diagnostic tools. So they might say to you, let's go ahead and do that MRI. Let's do that mammography. Yep, we feel a lump. We don't know what that means. Could mean different things. They consider your age and different risk factors. Do you smoke? Do you do this? Do you do that? So that's life for you. It's full of a process of elimination. And that's why some diseases, because they mimic so many other diseases, are really, really hard to pinpoint, right? So it comes down to if testing is available. And, there's some diseases, even today, there's no definitive test that's going to tell you if you have something. It has gotten better with, certainly, with the various diagnostic tools that we have. But in the world of IT, it's very much the same. They think they might know why something isn't working. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself this morning, okay, I've removed the new feature on 2 platforms that I had added it on. Let me reintroduce it. All right. So let me just do Instagram this morning. And lo and behold, it's working. So now I can go back to the company and say, hey, this is what I did. No thanks to them, to be honest, because I reported it to tech support well over a week ago and still can't hear nothing from them, honey child. And now this morning it's back to working. I'll test it again tomorrow just to make sure it's not a fluke, because flukes happen. So I need to be able to replicate this environment at least once more for me to be comfortable to say, aha, I gotcha, you sneaky little streaming bug. And then once that happens, they need to fix it. Anyway, I feel so good that I discovered that this morning because I hadn't thought of it before. But in a moment of silence, you can have a big moment of clarity about what you need to do. Isn't that something? So embrace silence more in your life. That would be my recommendation. Yeah. Become a Quaker if we want to go that far with it. All right. So on tomorrow's program, we will be having representatives from the local Muslim community joining the show about a video that has gone viral. And we will talk about it at that time. I see some of you messaging me wanting to have a whole conversation beforehand. There's a reason why I don't really respond to those types of messages. And it kind of goes back to what I just said to you guys about a moment of silence and reflection. Sometimes I don't really know how I feel about a situation. Like, there's that initial response, but then I have to kind of sit with it. Does that make sense? You guys understand what I mean when I say you got to sit with something to see what you really think about it? So yeah, there are times that I have to sit with something to feel out, what is it that I'm feeling? And, it's easy for people to project their feelings on you. And you absorb other people's feelings, and that's not actually how you feel about the situation. So I like to sit with it for a minute. I feel like we're all sometimes so emotive, and we, of course, are emotional creatures. And, in the moment, there are things that like anger me and make me very, very upset and emotional. And I sit with it, and then I reflect on where that is coming from. So I have been reflecting on that video, and we're going to talk about it on tomorrow's program. And I don't like to have conversations. Sometimes when people call me, I want to talk to you about it, and they just go off on a tangent, and I just sit there and I listen. And I don't know if they hear the silence, but I can only engage so much with people as well. I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but there are literally times when I'm just like, I know I'm going to have this conversation 50 million times. And I don't want to have the conversation 50 million times. Like, I want to have the conversation once and kind of be done with it. But in the space that I'm in, I also know that, people must make the assumption that I love to talk. And so it is difficult to get away from that because people see me, and automatically when they see me, they're like, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So what a mess. I go with the flow because it is part and parcel of my job as well. Not that it's my favorite part of the job by any stretch of the imagination, but it's part of the job. What you gonna do? Do your job. All right, let me get my links ready for you guys. Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, Miss Abby. I see you, honey chow. There's a lot going on in the world around us. We haven't talked about some of it for a minute, so maybe a bit later on, we might have a moment where we can discuss some of the world events. I don't know, because we might not even get to it, child. We're busy, but we can't ignore what's happening around the world. When you have the president of a supposed to be the world's greatest country, which not for nothing, but I have my serious doubts, calling people piggy and stuff, like name calling representatives of the media for asking questions that he doesn't like. Nah, that doesn't sit well with me. And I can tell you one thing. I could not imagine our premier, as small as we might be. I'll tell you one thing. No, honey child, the premier of the Cayman Islands would never do something like that and get away with it. I'm not swearing for nobody. And I say, I don't believe he would do it. He's much too demure for that. But if he did, he certainly would not be getting away from it. And I can tell you one thing. Nobody wouldn't be supporting him for re-election. But boy, some Americans are just happy to turn the blind eye to all of it. Unbelievable. Anyway, I want to talk about our budget. Somebody just sent me something about Miss Universe. What is this? Oh, that's going to be the live stream for this weekend. Well, good luck to them. Oh, they're saying Miss K-Man follows Miss Canada. I've seen she's got a lot of coverage. So I'm very happy for Miss K-Man, but I'm telling you, I'm not much of a pageant person anymore. Not that I really was, but I'm even less so now. And I'm even less so because pageantry is a hot mess and then some. It's at its fundamental core. I'm not a proponent of putting people on a pedestal or not based on their looks. Like I need more than that to think whether or not someone is of value in a community or, in a situation. So fundamentally, I don't like pageants for that reason. They don't even have a talent anymore. It's like so ridiculous. But outside of that, there's just been too much over the years that has happened with these pageants, both locally and even in the international front. Did you guys see that story that we just put up yesterday? One of the judges has walked off, has said that he resigned over the fact that the pre-selected list of the top 30 was basically, done incorrectly or done with prejudice, which not no surprise to me. I told somebody this yesterday. We were sitting here looking at some pictures of Miss K-Man and some videos and stuff. And, she looks great. She's lost 70 pounds. I mean, that's a ish load of weight. And I wish her all the best, but I'm like, y'all have a pipe dream if you think she would ever place. And it has nothing to do with her. It's that the world of pageantry, the world of Miss Universe, which has been watered down. You don't even have to be a miss anymore. You don't even have to be a woman anymore. It's just not my cup of tea, honey child. But I'll watch it and I'll share it with people because I guess some of y'all are still holding on to the pipe dream. Y'all to it. Bless your little hearts. You'll be fine. I just don't feel it. Okay. Boy, that live stream is looking good on Facebook. Let me check the website, cmrtv.com. Let's see. Yes, sir. Looking good, Bobo. Sounded good there too. All righty. YouTube looks good. Instagram. Welcome back. Auntie figured out how to get you guys back. So yesterday's show, we'll talk about Trump and his nonsense another day, because trust me, I need to give it some attention. We do care about what happens in the US, but we also care about accountability on the world stage, because as I've mentioned before, there's a tendency in world politics for things to trickle down, right? And he's bold enough to do the things that he's bold enough to do. And so by extension, next thing you know, we're going to get a leader who thinks that, oh, I can be a Trump to the Cayman Islands. Lord Jesus. Don't lick your head and think that that's going to happen. What a mess. Mhm. Mhm. So yeah, there's worldwide accountability here. Okay. So yesterday's program, we were talking about this young man. What's his name? Something genius. He thinks he's a genius. Lord Jesus. And during the show, someone said to me, Sandy, Chris genius. Someone said, and apparently he's all over Instagram. He's got 61.5 thousand followers on Instagram. And then he's on TikTok. So he has his little podcast. He's doing his little thing, good for him. But I obviously have an issue, and I made it very, very clear yesterday that you don't come for us as a country. You don't come for a national airline. You don't come for us as a people and think that I'm going to take too kindly to that. He has another 34.7 thousand followers on TikTok. The broader issue is this, and I get it because, we have a lot of, over 200,000 followers now between Instagram and Facebook, I think. So you get followers, people are interested in what you have to say. You become a quote unquote influencer. By the way, not for nothing, but I've got some amazing breakfast here staring at me. Can I just show you guys some of this Caribbean breakfast I'm going to eat today? We got beautiful ackee and saltfish, y'all call it. Some beautiful avocado and some nice crispy breadfruit. Yummy, 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 yummy. I'm going to dig in when we do our podcast segment. So, you have some sort of influence, I guess. And that with that comes some degree of responsibility. I'm in the space, sometimes we get it wrong. And I'm all for accountability. If you get something wrong, all you have to do, for far as I'm concerned, part of what you need to do is you need to be prepared to apologize. Set it right. And apologies are a funny thing because it's not just about the words that you speak, but it is also about accountability in your actions, right? And so you have got to be prepared to man up, as they say. Say, you know what? That was stupid of me to say that. Yes, I didn't do my research. Yes, this, that, whatever. And just come clean with it, yeah? But more and more, we are living in an environment where Caymanians, and this is why I try to have a lot of these conversations with you guys. And I know we have a lot of expats who listen to the show because trust me, they talk to me everywhere I go. British, other Caribbean people, they're like, oh, Miss Sandy, I love your show. I listen all the time. Filipinos, they're like my number one fans. Jamaicans. And so even on tomorrow's program, one of the reasons why I'm inviting the Muslim community onto the program is because we need to be more open to having conversations with each other, right? It's easy for me and everybody else to be stuck in your feelings and how you think, and you think that way because that's how you were raised and that's how you grew up. And, we're stuck onto these misconceptions about each other and feelings towards each other. And it can get very, very intense. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, right? And I, more than anyone, will sit down and reflect on why do we feel this way as a people? Why do I feel this way? And a lot of it comes down to a buildup of situations, of unhad conversations, of unsaid feelings. And there's nothing worse than that. It's like being in a relationship where you and your significant other are not really having the conversations that you need to be having. And as a result of that, you then have other things arguments that will happen and fall out and so on. Give me 1 second. I'm actually monitoring the website. Somebody just said something about the website feed, so I'm going to sit here and monitor it. It's playing pretty good for me, I got to tell you. I'm not sure. I am watching it though, and I'm going to have the tech guy. I'm going to send this report to him right now, and I'm going to have them ask them to monitor it. Can someone watch the feed? Because we want to make sure. And we got these people, they're all over the world, in the US, Morocco, all over. So I'm going to have them test the feed. For me, it's working seamlessly. So let's just see if we can figure out what's going on. Go to the website, because we gotta test the website. I want you guys to use the website, because the more we test it, the better. And you can watch it there full screen and everything. So we need to test the resiliency of the website, especially as we have started now rolling out our shows. Okay. So unsaid conversations lead to a lot of hurt feelings. And I feel like on this program, one thing that we can do, even on the days that we don't like each other, because trust me, some days I don't like some of you, not at all. Can I just be honest? Mm-hmm. I'm like, Lord, y'all are a hot mess and then some. But nonetheless, we still are here. We're still going to talk about it. We're still going to open up with each other. We are still going to work it out, Some of y'all be like, Sandy, when I call, somebody said you're rolling your eyes at me. And I'm like, well, that person might be a mind reader for true. Because I might have rolled my eyes, but it wasn't necessarily at you. I could have been reading a comment as you were talking. Because, I am multitasking here, right? Y'all do know this. I don't have a back-end producer or anybody else doing anything for me. I literally right now have 3 WhatsApp chats open. I have Instagram and then all the other feeds. I have to check the Instagram comments separately. That's like on Firefox. I've got Chrome over here. Like, I'm literally doing a million things. So when someone calls, I do try as much as I can to be present so I can hear what they're saying, digest what they're saying, and respond appropriately. However, I will admit, in the name of multitasking, there are times when I'm actually doing something else. So you might see a sourpuss look on my face. Yes, there are times when it probably is directed at the person or what they're saying, not really at the person per se, but what it is that they're saying. And there are times it has nothing to do with them. But y'all apparently are so interested in my facial expressions that you go back and run to people going, oh, she was rolling her eyes. Y'all, some of y'all are very, you're very attached to things that you shouldn't be attached to. Like, who cares, really? You know, that kind of vibe. So sometimes y'all get on my proverbial nerve. And it's okay. That's life. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So, see, I'm multitasking right now. And sometimes when I multitask, my brain literally is like, what you're doing, this particular task of posting this message where you have to formulate, I can only do that. I can't focus on what's coming out of your mouth right now. And so my mouth actually stops because the brain's like, put a pause. I can only do one thing at a time. The more complex it gets, right? Oh, okay. Give me a second. Let me say yes today. So I can only surmise. This is a post I'm putting out. Surmise. I gotta get that. Don't typos. That it is not working with together. Okay. At Mateo, please forward this to tech support as they never got back to me at all with my written complaint sent to the tech team via the website with screenshots, etc. Okay. And then I'm going to paste this here. All right. Oh no, hold on. Okay. So somebody said, what kind of facial expressions you be giving me, honey chill? Yes. What a pint? What a pint in this conversation? Can y'all please ask me, what a pint, Sandy? What the hell are you talking about? Listen, I'm trying to get to the pint that I want to say that yesterday was, in my mind, a very unfortunate situation where a young man, he's young. I don't know exactly how young. I feel like he's still old enough to know better, but he's still young. And I suppose he's still learning, and he's more interested in being an influencer than utilizing like common sense, fact checking, and all this kind of stuff. I didn't even know who he was before this thing, right? But I just want to say that you'll have to bear with me if you think I get emotional, or somebody called me yesterday, girl, have you had your lunch? Because your blood pressure might be high. My blood pressure not getting high, you know. Let me be clear. It's probably getting high for other reasons, but not because I can cuss y'all out when you need it. I'm going to cuss you out and keep it moving. And in fact, cursing you out probably helps bring my blood pressure down, because you know what happens when you don't release all these pent up feelings and emotions? That's what gives you all the heart attack and the high blood pressure. So the lashing that he got yesterday, he deserved every bit of that. And I make zero apologies for what I said. And I make zero apologies for how it was delivered. He needed to hear that. And I hope some of y'all had a conversation with him, because I now have found out a bit more about him. In fact, some of y'all have been trying to tell this young man that, boy, this came on, you know, this not Jamaica. Well, try and hush. What am I saying? But this not Jamaica. In Jamaica, y'all deal with people a little bit differently in Jamaica, you know. And I never advocate that anyone should be subjected to any violence at all because of what they think and the things that they say. I stand here and fight for freedom of speech. Whether I like what you say or not, you have the right to say it. Yeah? So, of course, as we know, is the case, when you open your mouth, and this is why I tell some of y'all, it is best you just remain silent. You open Pandora's box, you invite Auntie Sandy into your life to start to question your intellectual capacity, question why you have the word genius tied to your social media handles, because clearly you're not a genius. And really and truly dig a little bit deeper into who you are. Do you guys remember me saying yesterday, I would bet my money on the fact that we've invited this guy here and he's married to Caymanian. Remember I was like, I bet you he married to Caymanian, because some of y'all seem to get a little bit extra bold when you're married to Caymanian. Some don't make you jump on them, and all of a sudden you think you somebody. Oh, you can jump. Oh, I'm traveling first class on Cayman Airways. I'm like, who needs to talk about that? Comfortable seats, but it's not something you need to really go around bragging about. So naturally, by the end of the show, there were people who were reaching out and saying, this and that. I still don't have a proper name for him yet. That's don't come. I'm sure somebody's listening. So yeah, man, this is his name. I'm curious to know who he's married to. That's what I'm curious to know. I want to see which Caymanian. And I say this cautiously, right? Because I told you guys an experience yesterday with my ex-husband and my ex-sister-in-law. And I believe, and this is really my opinion, that you have the most freedom of expression in your own country. You shouldn't be able to go anywhere else and feel as free to speak. So his name is Krishna Davis. There we go. Ask and you shall receive. See who he married to and tell me who she is. Which Caymanian that is. You shouldn't be able to go anywhere else in the world and feel like you can express yourself as much as you should be able to in your own country. You feel me? So the way that he was expressing himself in Cayman on Caymanian Affairs or National Airline, I'm like, Bobo, he kind of comfortable, man. He's very, very comfortable. So I cannot help but think that he was married to Caymanian. Well, sure enough, apparently he is married to Caymanian. Looks like we have a lot of friends in common too. So one of them soon tell me who the wife is. And so you being married to a Caymanian doesn't mean that you're a Caymanian, Let me say that again. You being married to a Caymanian does not make you a Caymanian. And I'm not talking about a piece of paper. There are certain things that you would have to understand as a Caymanian, the do's and the don'ts of our social construct that we have here, this little experiment of 130 something plus nationalities that we have going on. Well, before the show even ended, somebody was like, oh, this is the same guy who was just arrested the other day. And I was like, arrested? Let me sip on my apple cider water this morning. What you say? Arrested? That can't, try to behave. Could never be somebody who can be so stosh talking about their first class experience and bags and calling us wicked. I said, excuse me? No, sir. You not having the run-ins with the law, Bobo? How can that be? You must be a very upstanding, demure, and prim and proper young man. for you to have the audacity to be judging our national airline and judging the country and calling people wicked? I said to myself, but Taras, how is this even possible? So you done know, Auntie. I make some phone calls yesterday. I say, you know this boy? Yeah, man, he on social media. But Jamaican people, them, they be having the best sauce for me. And I said, they say, see him Instagram page here, Sandy. I say, oh, okay, let me go do a little pre and see what's going on. And I said, but I hear he was arrested. Oh, yes, me dear child. Me here said the video was posted up on everything 3, 4, 5, but them took it down, you know. I say, what? Stop it. Really? You know, them boys over everything 3, 4, 5, they be doing y'all a solid. Sometimes they be taking stuff down. Don't ask me because I'm not taking it down. We don't roll like that at CMR. You know, because they come to everything through with a little cry baby story. Oh, you know, this and that. And da. I'm like, he not take down his video lambasting Cayman Airways. How about he take that down? But he got the audacity to ask people to take down Ish. You bright. Anyway, we're going to get to the budget strong, Will. You don't worry about that. I got a deep dive analysis here for you this morning. You sit there. So, sure enough, ask and you shall receive. That's the power of prayer, you know. Prayer is based on the foundation that you ask and you shall receive. So I started making some queries. I said, Auntie, need a link up with this video. It was a series of short videos that I have now put together, not in any particular order, but let me, it's not squat time yet, Nina, 9:30. Let me show you the videos now. Pause, because I want y'all to take in what I'm showing you right now. This is a video of that same young man. Krishna Genius is the name he goes by, but apparently his name is Krishna Davis. So this is him now, okay? And this is him being arrested by the RCIPS. Our wonderful Royal, what is that for? Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, his own Jamaicans, putting him in handcuffs and putting him in a popo car. Wow. So hear me now. I'm like, what did he do? And what going on here? He's so stushed that he got this kind of vibe. They say, yes, me dear. I said, wow, this is so interesting. And come to find out, somebody said the officer in Screens Caymanian was about time. Y'all found a Caymanian to be an RCIPS officer. I'm just saying. Go there, RCIPS. But he had more than one person arresting him. Oh, yeah, that Bobo. Yeah, I bless your little heart. There's more than one person.
Why are you doing
Look here.
this, man? All right. Are you serious?
He's doing the same thing. And he looks like he was, not for nothing, let's back it up. There's at least 3 police officers dealing with him. And he seems like he was actually resisting arrest. Y'all see this? Look here. You see what I'm telling you? That little one came on, and yeah, the other 2, I don't know. I didn't get a good glimpse, but it took 3 cops to actually bring you under control, Bobo. Eh? Say what? You're resisting arrest. I hope I see that charge sheet as soon, because I want to know what the RCIPS has consequently charged him with. Yeah? So let's continue.
Why are you doing this, man?
All right.
Are you serious?
He's doing the same thing he did to him. All right, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You send that one at your WhatsApp on you. Yeah.
Not for nothing, but some of his own people seem to be celebrating his arrest, so they know something that we don't know. Uh-huh. No. Uh-huh. So they continue to arrest him. There he is in the police car, and he's off now. There he is sitting in the back of the cop car. They even went up and did a little video of that. Boy, Krishna, they wanted you to go viral, sorry. And there he is. Is he trying to hide his face from the camera? Could never be. When you're a big time social media influencer, let me be clear. When it's your time to be arrested, you better smile big. Like give them a good view so that they can make that go viral. So there he is. Yeah, boy. Jason, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Give me 1 second. My sinuses are a little bit irritated. I need to grab a little tissue. Let's play a little commercial. Allow me to run to the facilities, and I'll be right back. CUC, thank you so much for all that you do. Actually, I'm going to post up a picture of a CUC truck in Jamaica, spotted in Jamaica, big and bold. Big up yourself, CUC. We appreciate what you're doing in this time now to help the people of Jamaica.
I am Richard Hugh, President and CEO of CUC. Our focus has always been on you, our customers. Times are changing, and so are your expectations. We are listening to our employees and the people of the Cayman Islands to find new opportunities that can improve your experience. We are working every day to provide you with a safe and reliable electricity service. You are at the core of everything that we do. We are exploring and adopting new technologies and sources of energy which will benefit you as we become more reliable and more efficient, which will mean lower energy costs. We are working to improve our energy management tools, offer new products and services, and provide 24/7 customer support. Our new vision, empowering Cayman to be a global leader, is building momentum towards a better future for our islands.
Great news, K-Man! Tim Hortons is finally open and ready to serve you. Start your day right with our delicious all-day breakfast, or grab a box of our famous Timbits and a dozen donuts for a sweet treat. Need a quick pick-me-up? Swing by our drive-thru for your favorite espresso drink anytime. We're open weekdays from 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the weekends, closing 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, with 2 entrances at the Shamrock Road Roundabout in Red Bay. It's time for Tim's.
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
Alrighty. We're back, honey child. We're back. So Krishna Davies, wannabe influencer extraordinaire, arrested, as we see, by the authorities, by the popo. Okay. No shame, resisting arrest. Now, this happened outside of a nightclub in the Strand called the Bliss. Apparently, this is the one upstairs there. Now, I couldn't tell last time I even looked upstairs to see what's there, but I understand that this is there. We got a caller, honey child. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing this morning?
Morning, darling. Not bad. How are you?
I am okay. I'm thankful for another day.
Amen.
I want to say something. Because I'm angry just like you.
Mm-hmm.
So, about all of this drama about our national airline,
Mm-hmm.
which we learned a long time ago, if we didn't have one, we would have been in their mess, Jamaica's mess right now of Ivan. Because I can still remember making 2 trips and seeing because I was away at the time of Ivan, so I didn't get back because my flight was canceled by American. So that was Friday, and hurricane wasn't nowhere. Hey man, but anyhow, that tells you how international airlines fare when a hurricane is coming to the Caribbean. They pull out. American, I was in Florida, and American canceled the flight on Friday, which on Sunday for me to come back when I was away for Ivan. So the theory of this story is the American airlines that fly flights into Cayman Islands, into Grand Cayman, they wouldn't have cared about us during Ivan, and we saw that because they were the first ones to jump out and leave while Cayman Airways flew people out of here, and after Ivan, Cayman Airways flew people in. But I want to read you something, and if every Jamaican worldwide don't know, I hope they're listening this morning, and every person listening in Cayman that is a Jamaican, because we have close ties to Jamaica, but you have to learn where respect is when you are living in another man's country. And some of these Jamaicans need to learn some RESPECT. I keep saying it to everybody that will listen. But I'm going to read something because I know why Air Jamaica disappeared. And I'll correct you that the fact you said Caribbean Airlines is no longer around, but Caribbean Airlines is also around still. But there's no Air Jamaica. And I can give you the history of when Air Jamaica was incepted.
Well, they're no longer around in Cayman. They don't come here no more.
because they couldn't get to do what they wanted to do with their fare structure to, I guess, whatever it was. Okay. I don't even know if they came to Cayman. I think at one point they flew a route from, but it was very brief. It wasn't because Cayman Airways owns the market. Because Caribbean Airlines service is pathetic. Period. Full stop. Okay. So let me read this. What I found, which I already knew years ago. I'm going to read it to you so the public can hear. Just give me a second.
Okay.
It states, in 2008, the IMF and Jamaica government discussed the planned sale of Air Jamaica as a positive step towards physical responsibility and addressing long-standing issues. The IMF viewed the sale of the airline as a critical milestone for the government's economic program aimed at stabilizing public debt and the economy as a whole. Remember the two words, public debt, because I'm coming back to that in a minute. A positive step. The sale of Air Jamaica was seen as an important milestone and a positive move in the government's overall economic reform program with the IMF. If anyone doesn't know what the IMF stands for, it's the International Monetary Fund, part of a broader program. The sale was considered a crucial part of a larger effort to achieve physical responsibility, remember those two words too, restructure public debt and reform the financial sector. The IMF approval. The IMF positive review was based on the government's performance under the Standby Agreement, SBA, and the sales conclusion was one of the factors in the approval of the first review and immediate fund disbursement. Okay, here we go. In 2008, the Cayman Islands, and every Jamaican in Cayman needs to hear this. In 2008, the Jamaican government at the time went to the IMF because the country was broke, okay? Broke. They needed money because we know what happened in 2008, the housing crisis, 2010, and then 2011, 9/11 came. So it impacted all airlines.
Yeah. And let me just say, don't go too far down that rabbit hole.
No.
Yeah, we need to get to our own budget here in a second.
Was in debt $1 billion US, and the IMF told them in order to get a bailout, you needed to divest Air Jamaica. Air Jamaica shares was absorbed. The Jamaican government transferred them to Caribbean Airlines. Okay? Caribbean Airlines took over some of the plane leases. And for a while, the airline remained Air Jamaica branding and with Caribbean Airlines below. at some point in about a year time or so,
Mm-hmm.
the Air Jamaica branding went away. Air Jamaica took its last flight in 2015. So Air Jamaica went away.
Somebody said 9/11 was 2001, not 2011, just to
Okay,
clarify.
2001, but
Mm-hmm.
2011, something they said something about in the article. But
Yeah.
anyhow, the Jamaican government needed a bailout.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way the IMF was going to give them the bailout to rescue the government and the country, because they were massively in debt, was to divest Air Jamaica. The Caribbean government, the Trinidad and Tobago government, in turn,
Mm-hmm.
gave the government of Jamaica a 16% stake in the Caribbean Airlines.
Okay.
It does not have any voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
The Jamaican government does not have a say in the running of Caribbean Airlines
All right.
because it's a Trinidad and Tobago owned Caribbean airline.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Leave us
recently, a couple months
there.
ago, Ms. Pamela
Yeah,
Broussard,
we don't.
Esther,
I'm gonna stop you there, Carla, because we don't necessarily need to rehash all of that. We kind of touched on some of those
but
elements
that is-
yesterday.
that is the
But yeah,
reason why there's
we
no Air
yeah,
Jamaica. So,
right. We
I
got
mean,
you.
I flew Air Jamaica, and it
Mhm.
was a wonderful airline, but Air Jamaica had problems from the time
All right.
it was incepted. Now,
Leave us there.
the UK government would never allow
Mhm.
Cayman Airways to go $1 billion in debt. I
All
leave
right.
it there.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
so much. So I know we went into some of the economics of it yesterday. This isn't really where the discussion is today. The discussion today is to explain to you, in case y'all missed the memo, that I have zero apologies, okay, for defending the Cayman Islands, my place of birth. As they say, my navel string must be somewhere close to Georgetown Hospital. I don't know exactly where back in those days, what they did with it. They didn't keep those things. They probably just flung it in the incinerator or whatever. Please. You have so many things you can talk about as a so-called influencer, blogger, or whatever. Find something else to talk about, right? You are here, even though you're married to Caymanian, you're still here as a guest in this country. I don't even know if you have your papers yet, like your proper status papers, or you still an RERC or whatever rights. Okay. Now you're out on bail after being arrested. And you know, it not for nothing, but it is interesting that apparently they wouldn't let him into Bliss nightclub for whatever reason. And then the boy got act up and go on the fool to the point where they actually have to call the police and have him arrested. He checked in for bail, ironically, yesterday. He was at the detention center doing his weekly or whatever bail check-in. Friend, first class or no first class, you don't seem to know how to behave yourself in public spaces. So I don't know why you think that any of us should be respecting your opinion about Cayman Airways and baggage fees and blah, blah, blah. Just let it be a cautionary warning to anyone that when you decide to put yourself in a public space, as you all like to do, and you want to spout information, you don't say this is my opinion. You trying to come bling, bling, pow, pow with facts, and then you can't even get the facts straight. And then you insult a small nation of 80,000 people and only 20-something thousand of us even Caymanians. You gone too far, bloods, as them Georgetowners would say. Blood, you're gone too far. You need to issue an apology. Okay? I'm gonna ask you, what his name is, Krishan Davis, to man up and issue an apology to Cayman Airways, issue an apology to the people of the Cayman Islands, and really just ask you to do better. I gotta leave the ball in your court. Because as you can see, we already see that you're arrested, so I hope you know now. That means we're gonna be watching your court journey, as you make it through the courts. Okay? Somebody said you should be deported. And somebody else mentioned earlier, boy, if this was Bermuda, he wouldn't be here. because they would make sure you're not coming back and they need national airline. You better find another route. So do better. I'm not impressed. In fact, what you could do for us is, since you want to be an influencer on Jamaican affairs. As a Jamaican, stick to that. You're not going to come for Cayman Airways ever again. Don't even mention Cayman Airways, and good, bad, and different. We're not business. Okay? All right. I think I've said enough about him. You have to deport them all that disrespect the KY. I know you're not talking about Marlon Hill disrespecting Cayman, because that would not be tolerated under any circumstances. First of all, he's not that kind of person. You know, we have private conversations amongst ourselves. And even in private conversations, I get the feeling that Marlon is reserved in what he's willing to say about Cayman. He doesn't really get involved in Cayman politics. He don't even get involved in Jamaican politics because he's just not that kind of person. But he understands how this works. He understands, but he better put some respect to anything he's about to say about our leaders and anything else in this country. Just respect, as the caller said. The one thing that came out of that conversation, respect. Respect people. You've come here, respect the people of the Cayman Islands. We feel disenfranchised for a reason. It's not just that we're up in our feelings. It's that some of you do not understand. You're doing too much. You're encroaching too far. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandra. Morning from the Bluff. Thelma, say hi.
Hello. What's her name? Thelma?
Thelma Lou.
Thelma
and
Lou.
She got sister name Louise.
What? Thelma Louise?
Thelma Louise. Yeah, they were both rescued under a car.
Oh, okay.
And when I got them, I had bottle feed them. Their eyes were closed and all that. Anyways, my point with this boy, what he named Krishna Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't want I don't want no damn apology from him. Sorry about that. I don't want no apology from him. He deserves to be deported as soon as his court matter is over, because like that video clearly shows, and if a judge can't see that, you were resisting arrest. They're having war on my porch. We don't want no apology from him. Absolutely none. He can leave. And that goes for anybody like him. And the mere fact that he gonna call us wicked, and on Sunday, the 8th of June, 2025, his government had a celebratory party in their country of Jamaica, celebrating the mere fact that that day didn't have one murder.
Lord God.
Lord God, exactly. Anyway, keep pounding him. Keep us updated on him. Right. We want him gone. I called to the governor to remove him. Kick him out of this country, because we know that the deputy governor and the attorney general ain't going to do it. So we need the governor to do it. He's a hater. He's coming to our country now, reaping the benefits of our country, because if he were back in Jamaica at that wage, he was making what works out to US $200 a week. He couldn't buy all that stuff, 9 pieces of luggage, and pack it up and get on a plane business class and go to Jamaica with it. He could never do that for maybe 30 years. He had to save up for that based on what he would make there. So you come into our country and you disrespect our people, you disrespect our airline that carried you there safely, landed, treated you with respect when you got on board her, and carried all your stuff safe. Nothing was busted open and before it got on the plane and and everything taken out of it. You should be thanking these people, the people that came in Airways. You should be down there this morning apologizing to Mr. Worms and his team and the board. Everybody, I'm sorry. Otherwise, ban him from flying Cayman Airways. Let's see how he get Jamaica now from you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, my dear. All right, let's move on. We'll keep a tab on him, and we'll see. Oh, good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Sandra. How are you doing?
Morning, morning. How are you?
You know what? I'm not going to change my voice this morning. Honestly,
Hi.
I'm very, very upset. Remember me tell you, I saw that thing, and I tell you, oh my God, my heart cry. You can you imagine? I live on this island. I'm a Jamaican, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Very embarrassed. And I saw it the other day, and I look into myself, and I say, what this guy are doing is not the right thing he's doing. He's
Mm-hmm.
not thinking. He's not using his head. And I definitely have to call her this morning because I'm very, no, I'm not. I don't care who want to hear me. No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm. I don't know who hear my voice,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm telling you this morning. Trust me, I am very upset.
And tell us
Upset. I'm
how
very.
long you've been in Cayman, because we
I've
have
been here.
so many
I've been
Jamaicans that
here.
have been here a long time, and they understand the flex and how things work, right?
You know what? I've been here almost 35 years or more, and I'm married 22 years to my wife,
Mm-hmm.
2 kids. I get my papers not because I want to be here. I am
Mm-hmm.
a very respectful person
Mm-hmm.
to the Cayman Island, and I am a person that does not disrespect people. And
Mm-hmm.
imagine Cayman Airways, you go on the plane, you travel on the plane, you travel first class, they treat you well, they give you juice, they give you everything you want, and you
Mm-hmm.
come out. You come up. Hey, I don't want to cuss this morning. I'm very upset as a Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, 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 very upset of what this guy did to our.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am a Jamaican, honey, and I feel so bad, you know,
Yes.
to be talking about him this morning. And I mean, I'm not taking up for him. I'm not taking up for nobody. I'm just saying what he did is wrong, and it's
Mm-hmm.
total wrong, and I'm not pleased about that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I live here a long time. This is where I live. This is where I grow. This is where I eat. The
Mm-hmm.
plane that I carry me to Jamaica, carry me New York, carry me all about. I love Cayman Airways. That's my national airline,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. You understand? And the captain that fly the plane is very nice. What the hell this guy talking about? What he talking
Mm-hmm.
about? This bullshit. This crap.
Watch the language. Still pun the
Excuse my
radio.
language. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But I'm upset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very, very upset. I'm sorry about saying that word, but this morning I'm
Mm-hmm.
upset. I'm sitting here in my car and I can't come out the car because I have to go to work, go do some stuff. And I'm telling you, I'm just here listening to what you're saying and listening to other people. But
Yeah.
my first time calling a show, and I have to call
Oh,
and
thank you, by the
you
way,
know,
first time caller.
yeah, my first time. I've been listening to you from ever since, but it's my first time. And I'm telling you, I'm upset.
Okay. Um, good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, somehow we lost power just now. That was so weird. All right, give me 1 second. Are we still on radio, by the way? Is Stingray still clicking? All right, give me 1 second, because that was just really weird. We just had some kind of power outage, and kaboom, everything was gone. Right in the middle of that call. So hold on 1 second here. Give me a second. All right, folks. We should be back. I don't know what happened. Just like that, boom. I heard beeping from our backup things, and then we were gone. The power shut off. There was definitely some sort of power outage because everything went. The monitor behind me, everything. So hold on. Let me get my little flag back behind me. So I don't know what that is, or what that was, I should say, because quite frankly, we have a backup generator for these types of situations. So why my backup generator did not trip in is a question that I have to ask Marlon, because that should have definitely come on board, you know? So that was weird. All right, let me just, very strange. Okay. So I need to figure out, because that should not have happened like that. Honey chill. Let me just bring my flag back up. There we go. Nice and beautiful. Yeah, that was weird. Because we have local backup things here, and then we also have an entire generator that if, CUC just had a trip out, I don't know if people lost power. I'm going to ask our community group here. But the whole point, the pint of a generator is that should have kicked in right away. So it didn't seem like it kicked in, honey jail. So let me try to see. All right. Can ask the community group if anybody else felt that, if that was just me. All right. Let's keep it moving. So I'm sorry to that caller. My apologies that he got cut off. Let me see if I can perhaps, because I don't think he was quite finished with his comments. So yeah, devices should have I think each device, including mine, should have its own UPS. So that was really, really bizarre. We're going to have to, I'm not sure what happened with the power. I can message somebody CUC too. Yes, I'm so sorry. We had some kind of power outage. Somebody else says, yes, we lost power as well. And they're down Beach Bay area. But that doesn't explain why my generator didn't kick in. Interesting.
Yes, so what I was saying, I'm gonna calm down because I'm just upset. You know what? Because not my business, but it's also everybody's business.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna come on the media and do something like this, try to look likes or trying to be, popular or whatever. This is not the way to get popular. I understand if you travel on a plane and you have a problem, you report it to the proper authority. You don't just get up and just jump. And
listen, let me be very, very clear. Okay, I see Denny said ban him from flying Cayman Airways for expressing his opinion. Really? No. I'm not an advocate of banning him. And in fact,
No,
Like I
we
said,
wouldn't do that.
everybody has an opinion, you know. It's not even about that. I mean, he was coming across as though his opinions were factual, which I think is a different situation. But I'm not in favor of banning him, but he just needs to know that if you say these types of things in a community, you obviously gonna get a response, especially from me and maybe some others. And there are people in the comment section who are like, oh, you know, agreeing with him. You know, maybe he needs to think of, you know, his responsibility as someone who claims that he is a blogger or a TikTok influencer, whatever it is that he thinks that he is. And so he should fact check the things that he has to say before he says them. But let me be very clear. He's entitled to his opinion, and we don't have to like it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, as you say, he's entitled to his opinion, but if you're going to put something out there, you have to make sure when you put something, you have to look back over it and see if it's right. I replay it and look and listen to it. Listen to your words, listen to what you are putting out, because word is wind, but it's also power. You understand? And whatever come out of your mouth, you can take it back, because once you say something, it already gone out in the atmosphere, and it's gonna be spread like wildfire, because it's come out your mouth. And it's like when you shout, other people gonna hear it. As they say, bush have ears. You understand? And who you think you're not hurting? Imagine. No, it's really upset me, because imagine Cayman Airways is the first person who get up and go with a big ton load of thing to Jamaica to help Jamaica. It's the first big plane that land in Jamaica after this disaster. And you gonna come on just because I want to go stupid $500 where you gonna, if then charge those man just pay for the thing, bro. You carry anything, just pay for it and go. What you talking? How you gonna reach if you don't pay for it? Okay, when you was gonna pay them bill? If you don't pay whatever, man, you pack the bag and you overweight. You know they have a policy. You know they have them policy. You know they have them stuff, man. Come on, bro. Come on. You overweight. Pay your overweight. I go to America. I go to New York. I go to everywhere. I travel. Overweight. I wear my things from my house. Me and my wife, my family, and say, Daddy, this is overweight. Okay, take it out. Because if you go there, you're going to pay the consequence for it. You're going to have to pay for it. Because they know they have a rule. They have a regulation that they set. If a 10 pound over, you're going to have to pay for the 10 pound over, bro. How you going to reach there if you don't pay for it, man? Come on, man. Upset me, man. $500, bro? And you're going to prison for $500?
You know what I find so interesting, though, right? Is you know, his messaging was a little bit confusing as well, because if you can afford to sit in first class, right, you shouldn't be the type of person that would be complaining about the airfare. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the baggage allowance. It's like, come on now. You can't afford, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But that money that you spent on a first class ticket, assuming that's how he did it, because there's actually other ways that you can sit in first class, you know. Anyway, lovely.
Bro,
thank you so much.
Because I mean, it's my one blood, not really my blood, but it's my one Jamaican. And you're gonna come and do something like this, and especially you're not gonna hurt other people. You're gonna hurt people, because it's the way how you say it, and it's the way how you talk, it's the way how you're blogging, it's the way how you do things, bro. Come on, you're blogging, but blogging right, bro. Blogging under the right thing, man.
All right, love. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You have a good day, darling.
You too. What a hot mess. Irvlin said, Mr. Did Genius unplug you? Not unless he worked for CUC. Carlene says, you're back on now. Thank God. Listen to me. It wasn't just me. The neighborhood group said yes. Someone who's down Beach Bay said they had the same thing. They had some issues as well. So we must have had it came and went very, very quickly, which these things happen. But of course, my concern is the whole point of having a generator is that, especially when I'm doing my show, I don't have these issues. So, you know, I got to put some pressure on Marlon here now to figure out what happened. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. I just want to wish my mother-in-law a beautiful 91.
Oh, bless her little heart.
Happy birthday today, and may God bless her to see 91 more. She's a beautiful person.
Oh, my gosh. That's so lovely.
She's 91 today.
Happy birthday. What's her name?
Not walking too good, but thank God she can still get up and she can walk with her walker or somebody hold her because she can't work. But 91 is a good age, and may God bless her.
Absolutely.
To see many more.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you, my darling.
Yeah, today's her birthday.
91 years old. Send me her name if you have a little picture so we can wish her happy birthday on Facebook.
I don't have a picture, but her name is Janice Martinez. She's Karen Martinez Thompson, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she's my sister-in-law, but my daughter.
You know, it's so funny, but I always forget that. You know, I always forget that Miss Karen is your sister-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah, I met the Lorraine 73. My grandmother used to work with him.
73. That was the year I was born. What mess? That's a long time ago.
I met the Lorraine July, the 20th of August, the 19th of August, 1973.
And look, hold on.
Stick
a pin, Miss Shalma. And my birthday, the day I was born was the day before that, the 18th of August, 1973. So consider
and then
yourself
we got married in 1980. We were together 7 years, so we married. But he saw a picture with me, and he said that I want to be his wife when I would come. So that's a long story.
All right, darling. Thank you
so
much.
My grandmother working with them. He saw a picture with me, and he said, I tell him my story is a little bit like Biggie Rankin wife, Miss Ruth, similar to hers, because I heard her telling a story one day, and I said, Miss Ruth, my story is similar to yours. But I never regret it.
Thank you, love. Yes,
yeah, I have you up and down by a good family.
Very good. Thank you, darling. Have a good one.
Yeah, she's 91 today.
91 years old. What a blessing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, dear. Take care.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
91. Boy, very fortunate. Michelle says, does his opinion really matter in the scheme of things? Cayman Airways is a corporation, right? Am I missing something? Would the corporation not be better placed to deal with the matter? No. I don't expect Cayman Airways to respond to this at all. And I think you are missing the pint. You're missing the pint. What a pint. So her question here basically, what a pint. Why do we care? We care, the real Michelle, because there's a undermining, there's like a river, right? That is flowing in Cayman, where every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Krishna can come here and basically disrespect us, disrespect our national airline, our government, anything they want to, right? And they think that there's no repercussions for that. That is the point. Not a point. Okay? So in the big scheme of things, the world is falling apart. Trump is an idiot. That's happening. It's not that big of a deal. But in our little corner over, yes, so as Caymanians, it matters to us that people come to this country, have a lifestyle here in this country that they wouldn't have in Jamaica, I can tell you that. And all of these benefits, supposedly married to Caymanian, and he can still be as disrespectful as he was, calling us and our national airline wicked. A national airline that was the first ones to set foot in Jamaica to carry our government and relief items. A national airline that at no cost has sent CUC workers overseas to Jamaica to help them. No, it is a big deal. And you don't get to diminish it saying in the large scheme of things, who cares? We do care. And this was the whole point yesterday. Stop the foolishness thinking that you can come here and sit on us as him and so many others have, right? All nationalities want to come here and tell us what we must do, how we must run our business, what time we must go to the bathroom, this, that, and the next thing. Enough is enough. As we talk about immigration reform, a lot of it comes down to this. We are trying to take a little bit of control back from people who feel entitled to work permits, right? They come here. You see them in these women's group. They feel entitled to everything. And as Melita says, not Melita, who was it that says that, he can have an opinion? This one here, Prosperous Queen, says, while one is entitled to express his or herself, he went about it wrong. I find that a lot of people don't understand the baggage regulations. Disrespect should not be tolerated from no one. Caymanians are a beautiful set of people who are respectful. This young man is dead wrong in his method. He's embarrassed our country, Jamaica. And that a pint. The pint is it came down to respect. And he disrespected us. And when you disrespect Caymanians, whether you're Larry the lunatic, right? Going a ship, notice I said ship, we're still on radio, on a young man, Caymanian young man, a Caymanian driver, just because he cut off his ugly looking Tesla, right? Whether you are Kevin and Karen, or Karen and whatever the heck their name was, with the port, the dock situation, posting all this stuff about no locals, no riffraffs, this and that. The point is, this is Cayman. You come here, you welcome here. We welcome you at Cayman kindness and open arms, but you be respectful. Mind your manners, as them old people used to say. Now, back in them days, them old people tell you get pop mouth. We're giving you the virtual equivalent of a pop mouth. All right, let's move on. San, I have a question. When you're having a professional conversation and you have to use that word, the point, do you also rephrase it? We need a what a pint GIF. Woo! We'll have to see about creating a GIF, but yeah, boy, I love saying it. I love it. Love it. What a pint. The day that man said that, he made my pint. He made my life. What a pint. What a pint. That is such a Caymanian thing to say. I absolutely love it. I see Larry here in Prospect 24/7 by the marina. Ugh. Lord have mercy. Yeah, we need to get that petition going for Larry and Linda. I'm sorry, I've been so busy. I did the other one. Make sure, speaking of respect again, same sort of thing, the Cuban guy, disrespecting us always. Please go sign that petition. If you have not signed the petition, by all means, go and sign it. Carrie says them Muslims will force us all. That, Sandra, well, listen, they're coming on the show tomorrow because once again, our video circulate with them where they sound like they were getting disrespectful. But unlike some other people, they have agreed to come on and have a discussion. All right, I respect that. You know, I respect that. We're going to see tomorrow now. I'm open to a conversation. Carrie said we woke up. All right, so we can't get to the pint today. The pint is I want every single one of you to get up right now. 9:02, we missed our 8:30 squat session. And we having a good breakfast with Aki and avocado and thing here this morning. So we definitely need to get to squatting. Miss Vernita, we're going to squat. Carol, hold on. Let me get the petition for, one second. Let me get the petition for the Cuban guy, because every single one of you now, over 400 and almost 500 people online, I need you guys to ensure that you sign this. This is Jose, what his name is? I can't remember his name now. Hold on one second. Javier, my apologies. Calling the man Jose, what mess. So go and sign the Javier petition. Give me 1 second here. No. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. So I'll share the link. And then while we're doing the, my girlfriend just said, I need one of them. I need some of that breakfast this morning. Let me see here now. Petition to withhold naturalization from residency. Only 151 of y'all signed this. You see this right? I tell you about Caymanians, you know. Y'all full of mouth. But when it comes to even signing a little petition, y'all not doing nothing. Okay, nobody not avoiding that. IL 2025, we're coming. So I'm going to start the discussion with, you will notice that we are using some new fandangling tools to help us kick off this discussions. This segment about the deep dive is, I'm going to tell you, this is AI generated conversation. I love AI. I have fully embraced it to the next level. Okay. And so this is an AI generated conversation. Please share the petition. Make sure that you sign it. Yeah, share that with all your friends. Surely we can get to 1,000 people to sign that petition. Come on, Caymanians. Stop with the slackness. But let's go ahead and talk about these new fees. Okay? So sit back. Well, don't sit up, sit back, stand up, do your squats, and also listen to this conversation at the same time.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today,
I'm gonna start.
We are really taking a scalpel to the new revenue plan. This is the blueprint laid out by the Minister for Finance and Economic Development for 2026 and 2027.
Right.
And this is, it's a lot more than just an accounting exercise. It's a strategic map. It shows exactly where the government plans to get the funds it needs.
That's our mission today, isn't it? To go beyond just the surface level numbers and really understand the thinking behind these fee increases.
Calculus, yeah.
Exactly. The official line, according to the minister's notes, is all about responsible fiscal management.
Which they'd have to say.
Of course. But they point to rising global inflation, higher costs for infrastructure, the usual pressures. The stated goal is pretty clear. Strengthen the fiscal position and stay compliant with the framework of fiscal responsibility.
And a crucial point here, they are not calling these taxes.
No, definitely not.
These are 25 specific revenue measures. The government's claim is that they're highly targeted. They're aimed, supposedly, at the large, internationally focused parts of the economy.
The entities with the deepest pockets, basically.
Right, the ones with the highest capacity to absorb these costs, all with the stated goal of minimizing the burden on the ordinary Caymanian.
And we know they consulted with the financial services industry on this.
Extensively.
What really jumps out at me, though, is just the sheer scale of it. The revenue we're talking about is significant. I mean, you're looking at $10.2 million from the legal profession in 2026 alone.
Just one sector.
Just one. Then immigration measures, they're set to bring in $17.1 million in 2027. But the biggest piece of the pie, company registration and annual fees, that's a staggering $20.3 million starting in 2027.
So when you add all that up over a few years, we are talking about hundreds of millions. These are serious structural changes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into the first big section, the high finance core. This is banking, accounting, corporate services. And the strategy here seems pretty obvious. It's a tiered approach, hitting the biggest players the hardest.
That is the key distinction, I think. Look at bank and trust licenses. That alone is expected to yield $3.25 million in 2027.
Okay.
And it's all about assets. If you're a massive global bank with assets over $3 billion US,
right,
your annual fee shoots up from $1 million to $1.5 million in 2026.
Wow.
And then it goes up again to $1.75 million in 2027. That's a 75% increase in just 2 years.
That is a very, very pointed increase. It's not subtle.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And it's designed to leverage the entities with the absolute highest capacity.
And we see this mirrored in the accounting sector, right? That's projected to yield, what, about $3.5 million?
$3.48 million, yeah. And it's the same story. The operational license for the largest firms, so we're talking ones with over 110 accountants.
Big ones.
Their fee triples. It goes from $400,000 to $1.2 million.
A tripling. But what's really interesting is the flip side of this. It's not all increases.
No, and this is where that targeted mandate really shows itself. They haven't just ignored the small guys. They've actually removed a burden. The license fee for smaller accounting firms, the ones with 6 to 10 accountants, that used to be $20,000.
Yeah, now.
It's gone. Eliminated.
So that really reinforces their message, doesn't it? That they're engineering this based on scale?
It makes the claim a lot more credible, for sure.
Okay, moving on to corporate vehicles, funds. Here, the government seems to be tapping into, the regulatory plumbing of the industry. The fund annual return, or FAR filing fees, are expected to bring in $11.1 million.
And this hits the regulatory overhead of the entire investment industry. The filing fee for a mutual fund, for instance, goes from $300 to $450.
Okay.
And for private funds, it's up from $150 to $225.
So individually, those are pretty small increases.
They seem small, but you have to remember, you multiply that by the thousands and thousands of funds registered here.
And the revenue just skyrockets.
It accumulates very quickly. And we're also seeing new fees pop up, like a new $100 annual fee for exempted limited partnerships. That alone brings in over $4 million.
Just by sheer volume. And as you said right at the top, the single biggest generator is the general increase in company registration fees, $20.3 million.
Exactly. This isn't some complex new structure. It's just a high-volume, relatively low-dose fee.
How does that break down?
The registration fee itself just goes up by $100. Huh. Annual fees for exempt companies, which are the backbone of the international business here, go up by $200.
So it's a bedrock strategy. Dependable, high volume.
That's it.
And just to round out this whole financial services section, there are smaller increases too, right? For insurance, reinsurance.
Yep, they're yielding about $700,000, and they're also bringing the crypto world into the fold.
The virtual asset sector.
Right, a new virtual asset service provider's fee. It's not huge yet, only estimated at about $300,000. Yeah, but it shows they're baking it into the model for the future.
The takeaway here seems to be that no major financial segment really escaped this.
Not at all.
Okay, so let's shift from corporate finance to Section 2. This is the legal and residency landscape. And this is where it starts to hit the professional services that, enable that whole financial sector and the actual people who work in it.
The legal profession is facing a huge impact. It's contributing $10.2 million in 2026.
And the way they've structured the fee increases for attorneys, it seems almost political.
It is perhaps the most strategic move in the entire package. The practicing certificate fee for law firms with non-Caymanian affiliates is tripling from $2,500 to $7,500.
That's a massive differentiator. How does that compare to, say, in-house counsel?
In-house goes up to $2,500, and firms with Caymanian affiliates see a much smaller jump, just from $2,000 to $2,500.
So it's a clear fiscal lever being pulled based entirely on the structure of the firm.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is this a fiscal pressure point designed to encourage a certain kind of operational setup? And just like with accounting, the license for the biggest law firms, 111 plus attorneys, also goes up to that $1.2 million mark.
And the small firms?
Firms with 1 to 10 attorneys pay nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
It really does seem like the goal is consolidation around these large global players.
It points that way.
But this is where the cost of entry for individuals, for non-Caymanian professionals, just becomes dramatic. The one-time admission fee for a non-Caymanian attorney is going from $2,000 to $10,000.
A 5-fold increase. That is a staggering jump.
It's a significant barrier to entry.
It has an immediate effect on how competitive the jurisdiction is for attracting top legal talent from overseas. And if we move from there into immigration and status, which is set to yield $17.1 million,
right,
we see very similar pressures on the entire non-resident workforce. The administrative fees for work permits are going up between 150 and 400%.
Can you give an example?
The standard basic work permit administration fee, it's jumping from $100 to $500.
5 times the cost, just for the paperwork.
Exactly. And on top of that, there's a whole new layer of costs.
Okay.
An annual national identification fee for all work permit holders. That's expected to generate another $1.5 million. So it's a persistent annual cost now.
And this targeting based on status, it continues up to the high net worth individuals still.
Absolutely. The numbers there are huge. The issuance fee for a residency certificate for persons of independent means jumps from $20,000 to $50,000.
Wow. And for permanent residents?
The certificate of permanent residence issuance fee for those same high net worth people doubles from $100,000 to $200,000.
So it's not just the corporations generating the wealth, it's also the high-capacity individuals who want to live here.
And even the general Canadian status grant fees are rising sharply. Naturalization, for example, goes from $1,000 to $5,000. The cost of formal integration is going up too.
Okay, let's shift gears. Section 3, real estate, development, and commerce. This hits some very visible, very active sectors of the economy.
Real estate stamp duty is a big one here. It's expected to yield $11.7 million in 2026. And the targeting is very specific. The rate only changes on the sale of property valued at $2 million and above.
So that $2 million threshold is the key.
It is. It means the vast majority of the normal residential market is completely untouched. But the high-end luxury and commercial properties, they now face a higher transaction cost, up to 10%.
So it's a revenue generator that could also maybe act as a bit of a brake on high-end speculation.
Potentially. And then if you look at the developers and the agents themselves, the local companies control licensing fees, the LCCLs, they're going up. Realtor licenses go from $12,500 to $15,000. Property developer licenses see a bigger jump, from $12,500 up to $20,000.
But that's not the whole story, is it? There's a huge strategic detail here.
This is the massive detail. At the same time, the government is placing a moratorium on issuing any new LCCLs in both of those categories.
So that's not just a fee increase, that's market restriction.
Precisely. The moratorium is arguably much more impactful than the fee itself.
How so?
Well, it instantly protects all the existing realtors and developers from any new competition, while at the same time increasing their cost of doing business. It's a very powerful move.
A move toward market consolidation, it seems.
And control in a very key sector.
Okay, let's look at the hospitality sector.
Rough.
Liquor licenses are expected to yield $1.6 million through some pretty big increases.
Yeah, and the tiers here really reflect the capacity to generate revenue from alcohol sales. For the largest distributors, the fee goes from about $4,800 up to $25,000.
That's nearly a 5-fold increase.
It is. And for hotels, if you have 400 or more beds, your fee also jumps from $4,800 to $25,000.
What about restaurants?
The largest restaurants, so we're talking about 300 seats or more, they get hit hard. Their fees go from $1,500 all the way up to $15,000.
10 times as much.
They're clearly leveraging the high-volume places to contribute a lot more.
Finally, we have to look at these targeted vehicle and driving fees. They're projected to yield $9.6 million. What's so different here is that the targeting mechanism isn't the size of a company, it's the status of the individual.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
These increases are specifically for non-Canadians.
Just for driver's licenses and vehicle licenses.
Right. And the magnitude of the increase is startling.
Give us the big example.
A 10-year driver's license for a standard car or truck. For a non-Canadian, it's going from $250 to $2,000.
Wait, from $250 to $2,000?
$2,000. An 8-fold increase based purely on residency status. It has nothing to do with the type of car or your income.
And that single measure affects a huge number of people.
A huge portion of the non-resident working population. Everyone from administrative staff to professionals in tourism and development.
So it shows the strategy is multi-layered. It's not just about the big corporations, but also leveraging the administrative costs for every single working non-resident.
It's a very clear example of generating revenue through highly targeted fees based on residency status.
So if we take a step back and look at all 25 of these measures, what's the central conclusion here? What is the government's approach?
I think a conclusion is that they've engineered a very sophisticated and highly differentiated revenue model. They've managed to avoid broad, unpopular taxes like a sales tax or income tax.
Right.
And instead, they've put in place this extensive system of fees that really targets 3 different buckets of capacity.
Which are?
First, the sheer size of international financial firms. Second, the cost of acquiring high net worth residency. And third, the cost of employment and just basic mobility for non-Canadian residents.
And the stated goal, as we've said, is to fund essential services, infrastructure, healthcare, education, while staying globally competitive. But what does this level of, frankly, aggressive and targeted fee adjustment really tell us about the underlying financial pressure a place like this is under?
It reveals that the cost of supporting a truly world-class jurisdiction just can't be covered by the old fee structures anymore. The sheer volume and size of these increases across almost every regulated industry.
From the biggest bank to a basic driver's license.
Exactly. It suggests that to sustain this model, you need a far, far higher contribution rate from everyone who derives capacity or profit or even just residence from being here.
And that leaves a final question for you, our listener, to think about. If the success of this whole new structure depends on global firms and skilled professionals wanting to keep operating here, at what point does all this targeted fee generation risk becoming a competitive disadvantage? Or maybe just a burden that's too great to absorb?
It's the constant tightrope walk of fiscal management.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the new revenue measures.
All righty, folks. Tell me what you think of my AI segment, The Deep Dive. I thought that was pretty good. Very good analysis. Very, very good conversation. And now we're going to break it down even further So I have the document here. Let me just open it up. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen in case you've not seen it. Feel free to reach out. I'll provide you with a copy of these new revenue measures. Now, we have to put this in context because we've got to remember how these new revenue measures even came about. So we saw, for example, even from the last government that was in the last administration, they were tasked with, and remember this became evident when Mr. now Premier Andre Ebanks, who was, finance minister during the last administration, when he was essentially told to go out there and find new revenue measures, right? Find money, because they knew that they were hemorrhaging money. And they knew that we would have to find a way to actually increase fees and hopefully increase it in a way that it has less of an impact on Caymanians as the AI tools. None of them. I use a plethora of tools. None of them can can pronounce Caymanian right. So just ignore it when you hear it. That's all I can tell you. You like that, Shaka? Said this is excellent. It really provides perspective on a level that ordinary citizens won't be privy to. Just simply reading the publicly released supporting documentation. Thank you. Yes, honey child, we elevating ourselves around here with AI tools. So yes, so there are a plethora of increases. And the government, like I said, the last administration had to make a start. Like, where are we going to increase fees? So there are some sectors, I saw Carrie and other people mentioning this, that there are some sectors that quite frankly have not seen increases 10, 15, 20 years, or perhaps even ever. And so this really is a balancing act, as that podcast said. The balancing act is, where do you find the money? We've got to fund social issues, government operations, government projects such as the overpriced Cayman Brack School. The money has to come from somewhere. Gabby said, I thought that was Blake and Aaron. No, sir. They would never have such an intellectual conversation about the budget. I'm just saying, that's not the type of show that they have. They have a music show. You think it sounds like them? I don't really think so, but okay. But yeah, the money has to come from somewhere. So I've seen some of you jump online and you're complaining and you're like, well, this can have a trickle-down effect. My question to you is this: where is the money going to come from? Okay, where would it come from? What revenue measures would you be happy with? Huh? Give me another solution. Because you guys can't tell me that we're going to have to increase fees and it just magically happens and it never impacts anyone, and what's the thought process here? So I think this government went to great lengths. Unlike the last administration, somebody said, just a correction, that Andre was financial services and Miss Julie was finance minister. Yes, that's correct. But he was tasked with going out there and finding the money. The reason why she had him tasked with that as even head of financial services is because they knew that a lot of what they would be looking at, a lot of ways in which they could increase the money, was through financial services and everything connected to financial services. Now, let me be quite frank and honest. Financial services is the bread and butter of the Caymanian people, right? It accounts for some 70%, maybe even conservatively, of the money that flows through this country. But at the same time, there's an argument that could certainly be made that there are a lot of fees that are not paid by the financial services sector, that they're getting away with a lot. Yes, we have thousands of companies registered here. And one of the reasons that they come here and they're registered here is because the money looks good. right? In terms of no corporate taxes, no this, no that. So they're looking for the most enviable, position that they can be in, where they pay the least and make the most. That's these corporations for you. That's what they do. That's why offshore jurisdictions have done well when you consider the fact that, they run from the United States of America, for example, and they come here and register their boats, their yachts, everything here, because it's so much cheaper to do so. However, coming back to the balancing act, right? It's one thing to offer a competitively priced registration fee, and there's another thing to be giving away your services at such a cheap price that it doesn't actually benefit the people of your country. Now, there's an argument to be made that, well, Sandy, one of the things that we have to consider is that we might outprice ourselves out of the market. That is true. And so where is that thin line? You have to look at other jurisdictions and consider, what are they charging for similar or the same services if they're available? One thing I do know is that a lot of jurisdictions in the Caribbean who are considered offshore jurisdictions, Cayman, Bermuda, for example, they will mimic each other in their movements, right? So I don't know what the fee structures are in Bermuda. That might be another deep dive session that we could do. But what I'm willing to bet, if we have now stepped it up a little bit and perhaps we're a little bit more expensive than Bermuda, or we're finally reaching where Bermuda is, whether, depending on which one of those is actually factually correct, and I don't know, so let me be clear. What I do know for sure is that if the secondary, where we are now upping the game a little bit in terms of our fee structure, if that is the position, it will not be long before Bermuda will follow suit. And that's a good position to be in, to remain almost neck and neck in terms of pricing and the competitiveness, because then it doesn't come down to pricing when somebody's going to pick a jurisdiction. It will be other things that will impact their decision to incorporate a company, to register a yacht, to do a funds registration here in this jurisdiction. So we have all of this money flowing through Cayman. And the funny thing is, a lot of you over the years have said, well, if we tax 1% of the $1 trillion that we have in the Cayman banks here, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know how easy it would be to tax people's deposit money, because that's a different type of taxation, right? But the easiest thing that we can do is to increase the fees associated with those people who have the money here. So let's look at bank and trust companies as an example, right? So we're going to go from $1.9 million in 2026 to $3.25 million in 2027. And how do we get there? If licensees have assets between $1 billion and $3 billion, the annual fee goes from $1 million to 1.2 in 2026, 1.5, then it goes up. So they're kind of doing it like a step increase, which I think is manageable. Then up to 1.5 in 2027. If you have assets exceeding $3 billion, and these are big corporations. Remember, now we have entities like Amazon, right? This man can drop how many millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on a one-day event, a one-day wedding. You don't think that they have money to spend on this stuff? They might not want to spend it because, of course, they're trying to get cheap. But that does not mean that it's unreasonable in the big scheme of things. We've got insurance license fees, domestic insurance license fees, captive insurance license fees, reinsurance. And again, when you look comparatively at how much these are increasing versus when was the last time that there were any of these fee increases, this is not unreasonable at all. That's just my opinion, right? exempt company trade and business licensing. That one took a big jump, as you can see here. $800 for an exempt company trade and business license. That's nothing. I cannot believe that. Let me just reduce this tidbit here. I can't believe that that is all that they were paying. I am just like, wow, $800. Listen to me. Some of us over the years have paid more than that for a local, for a local trade and business license. $800, not no money. They're an exempt company. So I don't think, I know it sounds like a lot to go from $800 to $12,500. And that's because, number one, it has been too low. And number two, it has been at $800 since when? Since y'all would walk around and wampus. So the fee increases are something that is to be expected in industry and is quite normal, in fact. But our government has sat on, because again, that them scared, I think a lot of it has to do with that. They've sat on not pushing the envelope and not increasing these fees for sometimes decades at a time, if ever. Accounting firms. These accounting firms have made a lot of money. And I do mean they like someone said, they bring people here who become millionaires easily in their lifetime. We're going to get to the law firms here in a second. Same thing, right? So I thought it was interesting, though, that the smaller firms of 6 to 10 people, they're actually removing the fee there, which was previously $20,000. They're going to remove that. I do have that as a question mark. Why not just keep it the same as opposed to removing it? But then we see, again, manageable increases for mid-size 11 to 15 accountants, a $10,000 increase from 40 to 50 grand. Firms at 60 to 20 accountants goes from 60 to 75. And then the big ones, that's like the big four, basically. It's still a big four now big three, because some of them have amalgamated into each other. They see the biggest jump from 200,000 to 500,000. You see, when the layperson looks at these figures, that's a lot of money to us. Of course. 500,000, I wish I had that here right now. You know what I could do with that? And it is a lot of money to us. But when you're talking about law firms where the average junior could be pushing $300,000-$400,000 just in salary and maybe some bonuses or whatever, you can understand where $500,000, if they even split that amongst the partners of a firm that has 61 to 70 accountants, that is really not that much money to them. They can find it. It might cut into their profit slightly, but they can find it. It's not much of a stretch for them. Let's go now to the special economic zone trade certificate fees. Now, this special economic zone is one that has benefited from very, very inexpensive fees. And that's what attracts people to the economic zone. And it was set up, post 9/11, I think it was, for the very purpose of bringing, business in under certain guidelines and whatever. And there are people who go into the zone because they know that everything is so cheap in the zone. Now, let me rephrase that. Because the zone itself makes money by charging them for every stapler, every paper clip, every little thing that they use. The zone makes that money. But the broader question has been, what is government making off of it? Because the special economic zone Listen, you get a package from them, you get a cup of coffee, you got to pay for that. You use the printer, you got to pay for that. All the space that you see in the special economic zone, those people pay a premium price to get an office space in there. Yeah. And one of the benefits was like, oh, we get a reduction in government fees. We don't have to advertise those positions. So then there's no competition for work permits, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a very lucrative situation for everybody, in my opinion, but the government. So the government, I even thought with the special economic zone, was treading very, very lightly. And we see increases here, but these increases are not really that much in the large scheme of things. $123. Why such an odd amount? $123 just sounds very strange. To $500 for the initial application fee. Annual renewal fee goes from $492 to $750. I mean, I personally thought that they could have increased these a little bit more than that, but there you have it. You know, again, trying to minimize, I guess, the shell shock of it all. Yeah. And then amendment fees increasing from $50 to $250. They have fund annual return filings. Again, very, very minimal increases, but it will bring in an additional $11.1 million to the government if they increase it based on, well, they have increased it, but this is based on these projections, how many funds they currently have registered. And of course, you know, this doesn't take into account that there could be additional growth within these sectors as well. So for the number of funds that are actually registered at this time, we go from mutual funds for their FAR, this is their annual returns, from $300 to $450. You know why I'm so shocked by this? Because you know that the annual returns fee for Caymanian company, I believe, I'll double check because I do mine every single year, isn't it like $300? So these mutual funds are paying the exact same thing as me and you when we file our annual returns? Uh-huh. That's strange. I mean, someone just said, I'll get to some of your comments here in just a second. Yes, that's a good point. All right. Private fund fees from $150 to $225. Right? We have introduction of an annual $100 fee for exempted limited partnership and corporate service providers. That's going to estimate to yield another $4.1 million. So apparently they weren't paying anything at all. I mean, that to me is pretty wild. So there have been some industries that have been getting away with non-payment of fees in a way that is really quite shocking. They haven't had any fees associated with their industry, so they've been flying under the radar. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I want to correct you there in speaking about FAR fees. So that FAR fee is an annual return for mutual funds and for mutual funds, funds of funds, master funds, right? However,
what is it for local companies?
So that fee is an annual return fee.
Yes.
There is an additional fee, like a mutual fund fee, that you would say now is for the actual fund itself, the registration fee.
Yes,
if you
that
will.
would be expected.
No, that wouldn't be it. So what I'm saying is, you don't pay as as a resident, as an ordinary resident company, you are only paying about 300 KYD per year. That's not a fee to file your annual return. That is what we refer to in the industry as your government fee.
Okay, no. But
so
my point was just a point of clarification, right? My point was this: the annual return fee for local companies $300.
That's not an annual return fee.
What do you mean that's not an annual return
You
fee?
have it. It's a registration fee. It's different. You don't pay an annual return fee
for local companies.
Yes.
So
it's not an annual return
when I have
fee.
to file
it's a
my
registration fee. Yeah, you don't pay to file your annual return. You pay a registration fee. The annual return is a part of that process, if that makes sense. The fact that they kind of coincide in terms of when they have to be paid or whatever, you can pay your annual registration fee and not file your return and be penalized. You can file your return and not pay your fee and still be penalized. So with me, I'm only clarifying that there is not an additional fee that local companies pay. Mutual funds pay a registration fee.
Call it
and
whatever.
A FAR fee.
I mean, I was always under the impression, because you do it when you file your annual returns. I didn't know that you could pay it whenever you felt like it, because it's due when you file your annual returns.
You can pay it when you feel like it, but you'll get a penalty if you don't pay it within a specific deadline.
Well, then that's your annual returns.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay. I mean, I pay mine every year and I have to file my annual return same time, and it's like the same process. But anyway, the point is this: you're filing your returns and you're paying $300 per year. I am shocked to know that mutual funds.
In addition, but you keep missing the fact that there is an additional fee that's also paid for those funds. Believe me, if the FAR fee were the only fee that mutual funds paid in Cayman, we would be richer than Singapore. We are the hedge fund capital. We are the hedge fund capital of the world. And I'm not here suggesting that our fees shouldn't have been increased or there wasn't scope for it to be increased. But as someone in this industry, I also have to be mindful that we have to protect the industry, and we can't continue to hit the goose that lays the golden egg. And I'm very glad. I'm very glad to see that there were. So I believe it was last year that fees in the industry increased in terms of registration fees, what I was speaking about earlier. Those fees were increased, right? Those fees are fees that, in my experience, the government has always gone after, has always increased. And now we're seeing, so a FAR fee that you're speaking of, those fees are paid to SEMA. Registration fees are paid to core government. Because if you're a registered fund, you're registered with, if you're a fund, you're registered with SEMA. Those fees are paid to SEMA. There are no fees, as far as I know, that are paid to government, albeit SEMA is a statutory authority. However, that money gets divvied up, I don't know. That's above what I understand. But there are also mutual fund fees that go along with these FAR fees. These are annual return filing fees that funds have to file. Not every company is filing a FAR, which is what we call it in the industry. So I just want to make a point of clarification, because I'm mindful that we may be offending people, and mutual fund, hedge fund directors and stuff may be out there thinking, or we may be spreading or putting out a false narrative that they only pay $300. That's not the case. Definitely not the case.
Why are we, I mean, I hear you, and somebody just said to me it's about time, because as Marla Dukran says, we've been selling ourselves too short for too long. So,
I will not, as someone who has been in this industry for almost 2 decades, believe me, I don't know it all. I think I have a good grip and a good grasp on what I see. However, we are sea, sun, and sand, right? And when I came into the industry some 20 years ago, I've seen fees almost triple in that time. And I am neither here nor there. I'm not an economist, so I can't say whether we have scope to increase or decrease. Were some fees very low? Yes. Were some, but we also have to look across the board and see, can this be done in another jurisdiction similar to ours at the same price? So bear in mind that a mutual fund and somebody having a fund here, that person isn't living here. They're somewhere in another world, not not paying Cayman prices and still getting the benefit, still getting a benefit. So there are a multitude of reasons why we still remain the hedge fund capital of the world. However, if you are able to capitalize, and I'm glad to see that fees in terms of what I like to call core company fees, those are the registration fees. I'm kind of happy to see that those fees weren't hit again. Not that I am suggesting that these companies cannot afford it, but guess what? Everybody is looking at their bottom line. Everybody is looking to make profit, as are we. But if we continue with these massive price hikes in the financial services industry, we are going to outpace and outprice ourselves. I'm telling you, when I can do the same thing, I can get the same type of company, same type of service in another jurisdiction. It does not, with similar laws, similar regulations and everything, it does not matter who is pressing the buttons. A lot of people choose Cayman as a prime jurisdiction, largely because of our connection to the UK. We have very strong AML laws. We have very good legal advice. We're known for those types of things. But again, you can get a Cayman lawyer to advise on a Bahamian company. You can get a Cayman lawyer to advise on and just remember, forgive me for calling any specific names, but guess what? You can have a lawyer in the Bahamas working for Sandra and Co. practicing Cayman law. So I just want to, that we are increasing, and I'm not suggesting again that these companies aren't able to absorb these fees. Some of them are, but guess what? Some of them don't have to. And that's what we have to be mindful of. And there are people who say, listen, I'll just pack up shop and leave. I'll just move it to another jurisdiction. And some people spitefully do so. We may see it as spiteful, but if you're continuing and like I said, we are the hedge fund capital of the world, and we just willy-nilly just put fees here, there, and see how it can be done. And I'm sure that these fees were increased, as I know the norm is, in consultation with the industry. But if you recall, Steve McIntosh from Cayman Finance, it was just last year, he had the same comments, and he said, we continue to go at the same industry. And
what else do we have? What else we can go at is the question. I mean, this is targeted.
But when will enough be enough? And do you understand that
when was the last time that these fees were increased?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's how long
but
it's
when
been.
you continue, but when you, I can tell you that just last year, similar fees were increased. So, and it may seem insignificant. One of the fees being a fee that's specifically paid to SEMA. It went from $181 US to, I think it was about $220, $250, somewhere there about. In the grand scheme of things, when you think about it, and you can say, well, if you have your company here, you can afford to pay a $40 increase. Yes, it boosts government coffers. And let me be clear, I am not here suggesting that companies should be here raping the country and making billions and billions of dollars and not paying anything. People are only able to do what the laws allow them to do. However, we cannot continue to just keep hitting the same piñata just because it's always full. Like these companies are also, these companies they have a requirement. A lot of core government funding are derived from a lot of these businesses. When a company is wound up, the funds vested in that company end up in the government coffers. And a lot of these things aren't being explained and stuff. And again, I want to be abundantly clear. I am not suggesting that these fees shouldn't be increased. And again, I can't tell you the last time that these particular fees that have been increased were increased. I can speak to the specific government registration fees. Those were increased last year. And those were increased at the very last minute. And those are always the fees that the government seem to go after, right? And what all I am here suggesting is that we need to remember that we are not the only people in this jurisdiction. We are not the only people in this industry that can provide a service. So yes, it's very easy to sit and say, we can pass those fees on to them because an accountant here is easily making $300,000 or $400,000 a year. But guess what? That same accountant can do the same thing that he is doing, make the same money in another jurisdiction, avoid permit fees. Because guess what? There's no regulation that disallows that person to not perform that same job in another jurisdiction for the Cayman Islands. So I think we have to take a measured approach. Stop jumping over pounds. Stop jumping over pounds to pick up pennies. And sometimes I feel like that's what we're doing. But in the world that we live in, and if COVID taught us nothing, we know that everything can be done from anywhere in the world. You don't even have to show up in the office. You can make $1 billion. You can make $1 billion sitting in a cave these days. And I just want to make sure that we are looking at everything holistically, thinking about it, taking a measured approach, and measuring twice and cutting once. Because we cannot continue to keep beating the same horse. I'll leave you there.
Thank you very much. I mean, again, these are some salient points that need to be considered. But again, when you are a 1.5 pound, what we call it, 1.5 trick pony, what else are you going to increase? So Cayman only has a couple areas in which we can increase fees. So let us be very, very clear about this. Would we be happier if this was not a targeted fee increase and that the average person like me and you started to pay income taxes and started to be taxed in some other way? Because you have to understand the realities of how this is going to work. Someone is going to pay. So if the focus here is to have the biggest law firms, the biggest accounting firms, all of these people carry the burden, all the mutual funds, etc., carry the burden of the fee structure. And we're going to see now in a bit when it comes to some of the things that will impact more of the local community. Y'all already crying foul about that. Scott, I keep seeing your comment about cut expenses then. I challenge you to show me one government around the world, including even the United States of America in their Doge exercise, who has successfully ever cut expenses in a world where the price of everything keeps going up. I am all for fiscal responsibility, Scott. So for example, that ridiculously priced Cayman Brat school should have never been allowed. And so the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Conley, as former premier of this country and current representative for the BRAC, she has helped to put this country in a hole where we now have to go out and find money to pay for that capital project as well as other things. So it's great to say cut expenses, but tell me how you're going to do that. You know how we could have done it is not spend the money to begin with. So when she was giving civil servants all these honorariums, and I'm sitting here going, we can't afford this. Y'all were like, no, Sandy, them civil servants need a little money, Not a single civil servant was willing to say, I'm not going to take that $2,500 or $200 honorarium because the country needs to cut expenses. So Scott, tell me, where are we going to cut expenses? How are we going to do it? With that type of spending in place. Now they're putting in a soft hiring freeze because they don't have a choice. No, I can't leave that school alone because that school is an unnecessary expense. Hundreds of millions of dollars that we don't have that we now have to pay for. So I'm all for cutting expenses, but I also recognize the realities of everything, just like on an individual basis. You can cut all expenses in your household that you want, and still the price of everything, the price of fuel going up worldwide, that's going to impact you. Right now, for you to have a decent Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, the price of that turkey when you go to Foster's, Colonel's, any grocery store has gone up. And I know y'all gonna want to cuss the local grocers, but you need to hush because it's not got nothing to do with them. Go talk to Trump and his tariffs. So there are things that are outside of our control, even when it comes to our expenses. We can't cut. Right? So, I mean, what can I tell you? There's going to be some expected increases across the board. And one of the reasons why we say that this is a targeted increase, because it really does try to put the most burden and the most pressure on the entities that are contributing the least to the average Caymanian. So let's look at, for example, the legal profession. This is not really impacting Caymanian lawyers. When you have a law firm like Maples and Calder, who, by the way, just got fined a measly fee the other day, right? Because they were breaching immigration laws, and they're always doing this kind of foolishness. They only got caught this time, but trust me when I tell you, they do it all the time. From when I was back there over 20-something years ago, Maples and Calder would be lying to immigration about what people they had in position so they could pay a lesser work permit fee. And these are companies who make, over the years that they've been here, billions of dollars. Every single partner that comes to Cayman, and they have a couple of hundred partners now within the law firm, have made hundreds of, they become legit millionaires. Back in the day when I was there, mid-90s, early 2000s, these people were making a base salary then of $25,000 per month. And that did not include any bonuses. So now they're going to have increases in in-house counsel for practice and certificate fees. Law firms at non-Caymanian affiliates, they go up quite a bit, $5,000 from $2,500 to $7,500. The other important thing that you have to recognize here was the fact that one of the things that this is also trying to achieve, and I think it's obvious, is the government is trying to put pressure on some of these entities to do better by Caymanians. So look at this. If you have no Caymanian affiliates in your law firm and you get a practicing certificate, your fees go from $2,500 to $7,500. If you have Caymanian affiliates, it goes from $2,000 to $2,500, only a $500 fee. That's it. All right. That's not very much. And so the government, and it's an obvious undercurrent here, is they are trying to say, if you are really going to hire Caymanians, if you are really going to invest in Caymanian attorneys within your practice, within your organization, partner with them to open up law firms, et cetera, right? We are going to ensure that you carry less of the burden. But if you want to come to this jurisdiction and get a practicing certificate, here's one. One-time admission fee for non-Caymanian attorneys is going to go from $2,000 to $10,000. These are your visiting King's counsels that come in. Right? We got to look at it and we got to consider how is that going to help potentially even shape immigration policy as well. They're going about it in a very, very interesting way, I must say. They have the law firm operational fees. Again, let me go down to the big boys, because firms with 111 plus attorneys, is going to go from paying $400,000 to $1.2 million. That's a big jump. But if you think that the Maples and Calders of the world can't afford that, and who are their clients? Well, their clients are the mutual funds, the same fund registrations, and all these other businesses, the high-end aircraft facilities. You know, they go and buy an aircraft into the billions of dollars, and then Maples does the paperwork to register the aircraft and transfer aircrafts and whatever. These people make money hand over fist. And when I say to you, okay, let's go and look at, give me 1 second here now. Let's go look at the Caymanian Maples and Calder. Hold on. Let's go look at the Caymanians they're not called themselves Maples Group. Let's look at the Caymanians that are making up Maples Group. You got to look hard, real hard, to start to find some of them, huh? Now, some of them are Caymanian by paper. They already got that locked down. But y'all know what I mean. I'm looking. They have like 1,000 people listed here. Let's see if we can just pick location. 320 in Cayman. Okay. Let me see. Tell me to stop when you see a Caymanian, somebody who looks familiar, that we can claim, even partially. Tell me when to stop. We there yet? Is she one? Alicia Thompson? She's an associate, probably. Tell me when to stop again. Amanda Small, she's a VP. She's probably, this is probably Maples. If it's the group, this is probably Maples Finance. Okay. Tell me when to stop. Nembard, he might be Caymanian, Senior Vice President. Okay. Where am I stopping? Any more? I mean, the point is this. What a pint is that of all the people that work in these law firms, if you have 5 or 10% that are even in management, that would be plenty. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So if there's a fee structure in place now that is going to encourage you, there's an arch. She got to be Caymanian probably. If there's a fee structure in place now that is going to encourage you to, spend money based on who you are bringing in and who you have operationally in your organization, the more Caymanians you have, maybe a little bit lighter. There's Christina. She's Caymanian. There's another Christina. She's Caymanian. Oh, Christina Gordon finally made partnership. Mess with her. Right? And let me clarify as well. You see these Caymanian partners, not a single one of them are equity partners. There's Christopher Ebanks. We know he Caymanian. I think she's Caymanian. Shanae Samuels. Right? So they are made to buy in to the partnership. They spend money to become a partner. They're not an equity partner. So we are protecting industries. And there's Desmond Chisholm. We're protecting industries and businesses that have been built for foreign nationals. All I'm saying is there's more than one way to incentivize people. Okay? And so that is something else to contemplate and to consider. Okay. Work permit fees. We're going to do a deep dive specifically to this section, perhaps a little bit on tomorrow's show. This is pretty heavy stuff, so I don't want to inundate you with it all at one time. I feel like we need to discuss it in little manageable bites. So we will definitely come back to it. Let me read a few of your comments. 1 second here. Sweet Coco Love 86 says these companies with offices in other jurisdictions will look for cheaper jurisdictions to hire people to do the job remotely. As the caller discussed, they do that anyway. Let me be clear. Sweet Coco Love, they're already doing that. Okay? You know how many, even the law firms, have people in other jurisdictions sitting there doing the work? Because of technology, you don't have to be sitting in any one place necessarily to do it anymore. So that brings into consideration another aspect of the legal services bill, which is something that Caymanian attorneys have been saying forever. You should not be able to practice Cayman Islands law without being a qualified attorney in the Cayman Islands. How are you going to be a qualified American attorney and practicing Cayman Islands law? Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Sandra. It's Deb. How are you this morning?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm good. I am very, very, very much in agreement with everything that you're saying. Mm-hmm. I'm absolutely baffled. I'm mind blown. We, as Caymanians, voted in this election on immigration reform. Mm-hmm. That was our number one. That was on the top of the agenda. Mm-hmm. We wanted immigration reform. Okay, so we're now getting that immigration reform. Mm-hmm. We're getting it in batches and in small ways, and these fees are a part of that immigration reform. Mm-hmm. When I have to criticize the government, I will. And in this instance, I agree with everything that is being done. Mm-hmm. Especially, and I'm going to speak, I have no friends that mm-hmm. are real estate agents, but we have complained. We are on social media, all of the keyboard warriors mm-hmm. that are always complaining, as they usually do, as when it comes to protests and they never show up, are the same ones complaining we have no Caymanian real estate agents. Mm-hmm. We have expats that have dominated this for years and years and years and years. Now that their fees have been raised, I don't know what the fees are. Now you're having people, the same people that were all on board for immigration reform, now they're complaining. They're complaining about Michael Miles. They're complaining about Ralston Anglin. They're complaining, oh, you're going to outdo yourself. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. When do we please everybody? What do we have to do? If you mm-hmm. want to pay, if you want to play, you pay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we have to recognize again. We have to ask the question: what are we worth?
Yeah, what is our worth? And oh boo-hoo, cry me a river.
It's so funny
if they decided to pull out.
Yeah,
I even saw someone on social media say, and I had to respond to them. It wasn't on your forum. I would think it was on the Caymanian Compass forum, that we have now turned apartheid. I take great umbrance to that. We're far from apartheid. In fact, before, we felt like we were the ones that were the victims of apartheid. We are the ones that are outnumbered. We are the ones that are treated like second-class citizens in our own country. So it just blows my mind that Caymanians who complained, who still complain, when these things are now being put into effect. Well, you know what? You can't please.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can't please like, anybody.
It's also like our tourism industry, right? We claim that we want to be a particular type of jurisdiction, an exclusive jurisdiction, because listen, anybody can get sea, sand, and sun cheap. You can go to Bahamas and pay $500 for a week or whatever. But is that who we are trying to compete with? Is that who we are trying to be? At some point, we have to decide, even as it relates to the financial services sector, which admittedly has been very good to us, you cannot get these services for little to nothing or for free. And
no, you can't.
Everything around the world is going up. So someone's asking about, what are other jurisdictions? Well, I did a comparison of other jurisdictions who are increasing the fees. So yes, Cayman has increased the fees in a targeted way, right? Jersey, for example, who is another offshore jurisdiction, has increased the fees annually 2.5% across the board.
Yes.
And they do that on a regular basis.
And look at Bermuda. When we come to let's talk about
Jersey
not the work
does
permit
it at
fees,
3.9%. Listen now, Jersey does it at 3.9%, and they do it based on inflation. So as inflation goes up, they increase their fees based on the inflation.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I may not have all of my facts straight here. But in Bermuda, if you go to Bermuda and you're on a work permit, are you not even allowed to not have a car? I know working for Butterfield over 30 years ago, you drove a moped. You weren't allowed to have a car. Every nationality of the world that comes here can't have 2 and 3 vehicles. People that live in the UK take something called the train. When they come here, they have 2 and 3 cars. They've never had a life like this before in their entire life. Mm-hmm. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. We wanted immigration reform. We wanted these things. Now that it's being implemented, now there's so many people complaining. And as I said, there are many keyboard warriors. I also saw a comment where someone said, again, not on your platform, but on the Compass's platform, that we've now become like the Bahamas. No, we haven't become like the Bahamas. I was a child living in the Bahamas when Pindon came into power. And they were a group of Caymanians that lived in the Bahamas during that time. And that was in the early 70s, a group of 25 of us. And do you know what the Bahamas did? Pindon told us as expats, because I was an expat then, I was under 5 years old, we are giving you 48 hours. You're an expat. You're taking up the job of a Bahamian. My mother worked for British Airways at the time. I'm giving you a certain amount of time, and you have to be off of the island in a week. Pack your things and go. So to compare what we're doing now to the Bahamas is beyond ridiculous. Of course, the comment was not made by a Caymanian. The comment that we are now an apartheid state was not made by a Caymanian. And I take great umbrage to a lot of these comments.
I wonder if they even appreciate what kind of an insult that is. I wonder if they understand how horrible apartheid was. And to even say Cayman and apartheid in the same conversation is absolutely disgusting and disrespectful. I hope you screenshot it.
But I think that my comment was
I hope you screenshot it.
Deleted. Oh, I responded, but as usual, my type of responses would be deleted very quickly.
Did you screenshot it? Did you screenshot the comment and who made it?
I should have done that because the Compass is very, very, very famous for if you're not on the same page as them, and they tend to be very pro-expatriate, they are going to delete your comment very quickly. So I just want to put it out there. I don't have any friends personally that are real estate agents, but I know for months and months and months and months, we have complained about the real estate market being completely just saturated with expats. A lot of them come here as divers, and they now are in charge of the real estate.
Again, stick a pin. Another industry that has taken literally beach bums who couldn't get a job in their own country. And when they came here, and I'm talking about William Square to be very, very specific.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that. Kathy Williams was on the top of my list. She was a bartender.
One came as a police officer, wasn't even doing his job in Cayman Brac. Brackers, when they were in Little Cayman Brac, the vehicle would be sitting there for so long that it would grow grass underneath it from where they were just cutting around it. And they would be seen frolicking, fornicating on the beach on government's dime. The wife came here as a bartender who couldn't mix a proper drink. And now they are millionaires in this country talking about they only want to sell high-end real estate. Only in the fucking Cayman Islands. Only, let me say it again. Only in the fucking Cayman Islands can people like this come here and pay little to nothing and enter industries that will make their unqualified backsides millionaires. And then how do they repay us? turn around and hire more foreigners to be in real estate than anybody else, so all their friends can become millionaires too.
And then everybody that comes to the island that eventually gets PR usually uses these real estate agents. Utilizes these real estate agents. They buy land on the Iron Shore. When they buy land on the Iron Shore, when hurricanes or tropical storms come, their places are washed away. They buy places that if they were to deal with Caymanian real estate agents, Caymanians would not build there or even buy there. Okay? They're buying land. They know nothing. They know shit about Cayman. They know shit about our culture. They know shit about our demographics. They know nothing about our mangroves, but they're making millions and millions of dollars. So I applaud the government on these fees. And if they don't like it, well, about outsourcing ourselves, then move. We're not.
Well, I mean, listen, at some point you got to be prepared to take a stand and know your worth, know your value, right? So to Sweet Coco's point, they're going to do stuff over, they're going to outsource. People have been doing that already. From the time the internet was materialized, during COVID, during anything. Even the rollover, one of the reasons why the rollover don't friggin' work is because the same people that they have hired here in administrative roles, they send them back to the Philippines, send them back to Canada, send them back to the UK, wherever, and have them sitting there doing the exact same work, but now they're paying them in US dollars into their account over there. What is the difference?
Yeah, so, as I said, my own people sometimes really, really just blow my mind. Because we complain. We want immigration reform. We wanted change. And now that we're getting that change and the necessary fees are being put in place to protect Caymanians, because it is not affecting us. I don't understand that it's going to affect us. The trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
And if it does, then so what? Move out and go to another jurisdiction.
And Strong Will makes a point, say they're going to soon get AI to do the job. Let me be very clear. There's a certain retrition, if that's the word that I'm looking for, that's going to happen in the workforce, right? That has to do with advances in technology, including AI, that you cannot stop. You're not going to be able to. You see the other day where somebody was trying to use AI right here in Cayman to file their court papers. And the courts had to rule on that. Like, damn it, if you're going to use AI, you better make sure you get it right, because then you're not going to have no right of appeal.
Nope, I agree. So everything that you're saying, I applaud you and I agree with you. Kaboom. And come on, Caymanians. We wanted change. We have that change. So let's support the change when it is, as far as I'm concerned, a very good change, very necessary. It gives Caymanians a bigger and a much better chance now of having a fair play in their own country. We have been snapped on for too long. We're the underdogs in our own country. We're the minority in our own country. It's time now that we become the shining stars in our country and that we're number one. I'm not saying that everything is perfect. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, but it's certainly a good start. I'm just really tired of Caymanians that talk out of two sides of their mouth. Say what you mean and mean what you say, or shit and get off the pot. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth for the morning.
Okay, thank you, my darling.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 936-2626 is the telephone number. Like I said, we're going to continue this conversation in part tomorrow. But these are some of the realities that we're dealing with, we don't live in a bubble. So yes, we have to look at what other jurisdictions are charging. Countries like BVI and Bermuda, they're our closest peers, I guess, geographically. I'm not sure how much they really compete with us because we have set up, a reputation and been in industry for a really long time. So one of the things that people appreciate about Cayman is not just the fee structure, because that's only one part of it, but it's also the level of expertise and the customer service that you will get in this jurisdiction as well. So that is something to consider and something to contemplate and think about. So yes, fees matter, fees count, but it's not everything. And you guys are, the problem that some of you don't recognize, I think, is you're defending industries and money. These people have more money than you will ever be able to visualize in your entire lives. They could shit a golden egg. That's how much money these funds have. It's ridiculous money. All this whole cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all this kind of stuff. Crazy what they be sitting on. I'm just saying, we've got to put some of this in like a real world context. So, some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to complain. Yes, I admit. And at some point, you're going to have to say, you know, what's the alternative? You want some tariffs? You want to have income tax? You know that one of the reasons why people leave Canada and come here, because something like 60% of their income is actually taxed. For businesses, it's a ridiculous amount on what they pay in taxation. So because we have and keep this in mind now, the only real revenue stream that Cayman has is in the way of fees, okay? We have no direct taxes on income. We have no property tax. When you live in jurisdictions like the United States of America, and I've lived there, you know what my aunt used to tell me as a child? She would say, Sandy, you walk outside, you spit on the sidewalk, you walk on the sidewalk, everything you do to breathe in this country, there is a price to pay for it. You are taxed with everything. You go to the store, you pay sales tax. Huh? You go and get your vehicle license, you're paying for that. You get a job. In some states like California and New York, you're paying a 2-tier tax system, one to the feds and one to the state. You buy a little piece of property. Yes, we pay one-time fees here, but there you're going to pay the fee to purchase it, all of the associated banking costs and everything else to get the financing. And then every single year, you're going to pay taxes on that property. And believe me when I tell you, the taxes on that property goes up and up and up and up. Where's Cousin Sharon? I listen to my American friends. You know, oh yeah, I want to invest in property. I want to buy a little property, but my God, I can no longer afford to pay the taxes on this property. Because although I got it at a deal 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the value has increased, and therefore my income tax is now 3-4 times what it used to be. Our understanding of the world and finance and money has been very, very limited because we live in this jurisdiction where there's certain things that we just don't do. All of you need to go and live abroad at some point in your adult life when you have to be responsible for the bills, right? Oh, well, it's so cheap, you know, the electricity bill is so cheap in the States. That can be the least of your worries. When you see that, number one, you can make less take-home money, and then every little thing is chipping away at it. Taxes, taxes, taxes. I was reading something the other day that said within the first week of someone getting paid, 70% of their salary is done for within the first week. If you're paid monthly, within the first week, 70% of your money gone. It's no joke. And every single one of them practically still living paycheck to paycheck. Still can barely make ends meet. Still living on credit. If it wasn't for credit cards, most Americans wouldn't be able to have any form of entertainment. They put it on a credit card, and then pay little by little on the credit card each month and accruing all kind of interest and all kind of debt. We see companies like Tesla, for example, can make $1 trillion payout to Elon Musk. And when these companies come to jurisdiction like Cayman and they have to pay a little $1.2 million for a fee on some company where they hide all their money, you really think that they're hurting? That means that you guys don't even understand. I get it that they would take it for free. But you cannot continue to undervalue your services and what you are worth in the name of protecting people who have more money than Quaker has oats. Let's talk about the mutual funds industry just as an example. Let's see what that's valued at in Cayman. Because I think this is some of the stuff that, and this is why I say to government, y'all need to educate your people. Because when we have discussions like this, right? And we don't understand what these things are even worth. And we're talking about, oh, well, this can have a trickle-down effect, increasing these fees. These companies are going to want to move, and then blah, 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 blah. Huh? And then I say to you, stick a pin. The mutual funds industry is valued and came out at $8.2 trillion in net assets as of the end of 2024. Let me repeat that. Church is in session. Listen carefully to the gospel. $8.2 trillion. Huh? $8.2 trillion. So you all think that little bit of fee that they're paying over there, that little bit of increase, even if it's $1.2 million on their assets, an annual fee or whatever, you think that is any money to these people? I'm going to invite you to please reconsider your position when you get on air and you make these comments, this fear mongering. Okay? Come again. Because I find it very, very difficult to see the logic in your argument when I look at the sheer numbers. Over 30,000 registered alternative investment funds. That's over 12,800 mutual funds, over 7,000 private funds at the last count. The sector continues to demonstrate steady growth, underlying its position as the world's leading offshore hedge fund and private equity fund domicile. These law firms, what kind of money do you think that they're making? Knowing that they pay no income tax. Yeah? Like I said, we need to understand as people who live in this country how all of this works. And as the caller said, you pay to play. Miss Wanda, good morning. She says, I'm in Pennsylvania and I pay federal, state, local, and school taxes. This is no joke. These companies pay no corporate taxes. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Y'all know I love me some AI, boy. Thank God for that, for my AI assistant. And I pay for the tools, I pay for the pro models. They don't come cheap. I do pay for them because they have some deep research capabilities. Because when I pose a question, I need to ensure that my question is going to get answered in an accurate way with facts and figures. So you see, when I just put this up, you see how it references and I can click on the sources that it's using? Here's one: Asset Services Times plus 2 other sources, Funds Europe plus 5 other sources. That is how you get your correct information. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry want to be a friggin' expert on every single thing. I'm not an expert, but what I say is you do your homework and you come prepared with your homework and your responses. So I just asked AI a question. Let's talk about how these companies save by being in an offshore jurisdiction like Cayman. Let's look at the benefit. Because on the one hand, you guys are talking about the cost. Yes, there's a cost to doing business everywhere in the world. But you are underestimating. When we talk about the so-called cost-benefit analysis, you are underestimating the benefit, and this is why you continue to sell yourself short. Yeah? With these things. All right, so let's have a look at it. What are some of the benefits? No direct corporate or income taxes. Again, we were just talking about that. So everybody in the back of the classroom, you got it? You know what they pay in direct corporate, capital gains, income, because they pay on the income too, either. It's not just one form of tax that these corporations pay. Withholding taxes. So let's see if we can take one example. So one real world example. Hold on. One thing with AI, you just got to know how to ask the question. So sometimes I got to focus on that. Okay. So let me see if we can take one. Let me see if it'll analyze and give me a real world corporate example so we can break it down for you. Because again, I suspect that you guys don't really keep up with these things. And so you don't really know. Okay. So they're taking a very moderate example of a medium-sized hedge fund worth $100 million in assets under management, set up in the Cayman Islands. Here's a breakdown of the major fees and estimated figures this fund would pay annually, along with the onshore US-based comparison for context. Okay? So this is now where this gonna look. This is where now we gotta separate the boys from the little girls in class. Now, when I say boys and girls, I'm not talking about your sex, by the way. I'm talking about your level of understanding. All right? So let me show you this graph. Because again, when you get into the business of talking about, oh, you know, they're gonna start running, they're gonna go somewhere else, they're gonna take the money, oh my God, we can outprice ourselves. I challenge you to come with facts and figures. So if we take a moderate, and $100 million ain't no money to these people, okay? If we take a moderate size, this is a medium-sized hedge fund worth $100 million in assets under management, set up in the Cayman Islands, here's a breakdown of what the estimated costs and fees would be in Cayman versus what the estimated costs and fees would be in the United States of America. Come again. Come again. Do y'all see this? Y'all see what I'm looking at? Initial SEMA application $365 to $450. If they were to do that in the United States of America with SEC registration, you're looking at between $2,000 and $3,000. Educate yourselves. It is important in this world of information that we start to educate ourselves. It is imperative. You're entitled to your opinion, but your opinion should be tempered with some degree of factual information. And when it is not, as Miss Anita says here, these people are land pirates. They have been using and abusing the Caribbean from time, and they continue to do so. So even when we become, we're offshore experts in jurisdiction and blah, blah, blah. Seventh largest financial center in the world, which we're no longer. We pat ourselves on the back, and they in their private meetings and boardrooms laughing at us, thinking, what a bunch of fools. They still, no wonder they can reference apartheid when it comes to us, because they still been abusing and using us. Look at the annual SEMA regulatory fee. Between $4,200 to rounded up to $4,500. In the United States of America, it's $10,000 plus. With ongoing regulatory oversight. Whereas in Cayman, they probably just get a one-off annual review, sort of, kind of, true, maybe not, kind of thing. Registered office fees. Well, in the States, you're going to have to get big-time lawyers to do all that for you, and that ain't going to come cheap, and they're going to include that in their fees. Look at here, this. Auditor accountant fees. In Cayman, you might get it for between 10 to 25 grand. Minimum of 20 grand in the US. Fund administration. 0.1% to 0.25%. They say, okay, similar, sometimes higher, depending on the size of the fund, anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000. We could break this down. Here's another category I want y'all to look at. Okay, so just give me a second. 1 second, class. Class is in session here today. Right? 1 second for me, Bobo. Here are some of the other associated fees that we're looking at. Government statutory filing. Here in Cayman, it's going to be between $1,000 and $5,000. In the United States of America, $2,500 to $10,000 plus. For the legal setup, right? Set up with documents, et cetera, et cetera. See what it says here, 25 to 75 in Cayman. I think that's probably still high, but anyway, we'll go with it. U.S. legal can be higher or lower depending on complexity. In most cases, it's going to be higher. Corporate tax, they put corporate tax and FACTA filings. In the United States of America, 10,000 plus. So here's the bottom line. When you're doing a comparative perspective of the estimated cost of these funds doing business in Cayman, excluding performance fees and manager fees. In the United States of America, Delaware, New York, where there's lots of hedge funds as well, for the exact same fund, it is typical for them to pay 30 to 50% more. 30 to 50% more, with additional U.S. tax filings, state registration, and greater audit considerations as well. So don't talk no nonsense, Caymanians, because we're going to increase our fees a little bit across sectors who are rolling in it. Right? We are still, regardless of the fees going up, we are still an amazing deal. Don't let nobody, I don't give two shits if it's Cayman Finance or anybody else, put any nonsense in your head. Oh, we keep taxing the financial services. You tell me something. How Cayman Finance even come to Cayman and get started? This is another golden goose example. Sure, I like Steve, whatever his name is. But he's another one who came to Cayman, was able to set up first a recruiting business, now Cayman Finance, and has become a millionaire. I dare you to show me how many Caymanian examples y'all have of how easy it is to become a bloody millionaire. 1, 2. The Don Seymours of the world, that's it. The Dan Scotts of the world, there's not that many of them. By comparison, we have had more foreign nationals come to Cayman and become millionaires. And if y'all want to argue with me on that point, we can do that too. My point is this. The system has been created and really shaped to make things good for certain people. And for far too long, the people on the short end of the stick has been the Cayman Islands government and the Caymanians. Because we ourselves do not know our own worth. And I am highly offended when I see Caymanians get up and try to have these conversations about, boy, you know, this gonna hurt the industry and this and that. We can never be of a singular voice, and that's why they know how stupid we truly are. That is how they continue to conquer and divide. Y'all do not, you've never known your worth, even in slave days gone by. And even now, you still do not know your worth. And that is to your own detriment. Caymanians, listen to me. That is to your own detriment. So I see the messages that are circulated on social media. Oh, well, this one had this to say, you know, and I think that they have a point. What makes you think they have a point? What research have you done to make, come to me with some facts and figures? Huh? Let's talk about the corporate taxes in the US and the UK. That's what I want to hear about. Let me pull up my offshore alert. Hold on 1 second, yeah. These people making bank, as they say, and Caymanians are none the wiser. That's why when Marla Ducran says, we have sold ourselves short. By the way, her show's going to be on this Friday. Make sure y'all listen. Midday. She's coming right here on CMR TV, honey child. She knows exactly what she is talking about. It is easy to fool people when they do not know their own worth. And it's a sad state of affairs, right? When we are here having these conversations and we do it with such limited knowledge and information. The Caymanians who are in the industry, they themselves are too afraid to speak up because the little tricklings that they get coming down to them gonna stop, gonna dry up. So they're afraid. But I can tell you, if enough of them would sit down and talk about this. Look at this one. Liquidators of Isle of Man's Global Steel Holdings seek to enforce a $49 million judgment in the BVI. Singapore, $38 million investment in LR Capital Project Management. These people, this is like, my apologies. This kind of money is like nothing to them. Here's another one that came in. Investor applies to wind up a Chinese auto part service provider in Cayman. You see, they be coming here with all this shit. Over $9.5 million debt. Bitcoin staker Core Foundation obtains Cayman jurisdiction to start partner launching rival product. All these kind of foolishness. And Cayman is right in the mix. The amount of money that is flowing through this country is ridiculous. And we can't expect to get some reasonable fees off of all of these companies and transactions, et cetera, et cetera. We need to wake up. This is child's play. If we were doing it like how the Arabs do it with their gold, their oil, my apologies, might as well be gold, more valuable than gold, right? Where the citizens profit based on how wealthy they are, we would be like UE, United Arab Emirates, wherever bought a drive around in a friggin' Lamborghini, if we had been managing this industry properly, but we haven't been. Now, I'm not saying that the 70% and the trickle down has not been a benefit to us. A lot of us work in these industries, and yes, we have made money. Don't get Auntie wrong. Don't confuse the message. But what I'm telling you is, even to that, the fact that y'all sitting here talking about these people and their fees, and you still struggling to go to the grocery store every single month, and you got a budget, and you got to figure out how to feed your family of 3, 4, and 5 people. When you work in a mutual funds industry, sometimes that don't even give y'all pay raises for years. I'm telling you, they are continuing pirates, continuing to rape and pillage this country in a different kind of way. Let's take some comments. This person says, teach them, Sandy, kaboom. They make that in a couple of months. And them lawyers, they too glad take it up because they can afford it. Plus it's safe here. Other people come here and become rich off of us. We're trillionaire babies. We don't get no safer and no better treatment nowhere else. Cayman children, wake up, know your worth. We should have had the best workers in the financial industry. Tell them, Sandy, amen. This person says people need to realize and remember that we have a great reputation and we are highly respected, trusted, and wanted jurisdiction. Financial services is very robust. We also want to attract good clients. Caymanians have too much of a yes massa mentality. Oh, we have offices in other jurisdictions coming to us for guidance. I know of junior lawyers making up to $80,000 in bonuses. So imagine what equity lawyers are making. No, son. We got to wake up, man. We got to wake up. Say what? Where are these comments coming from? I don't even know what this is about. But I'll read it because sometimes y'all legit confuse me. So this person says, hold on. Good morning, not just Americans, but we got our donkeys here supporting his nastiness as well. That was from earlier today. I guess I'm on Trump. It makes me wonder if y'all cut from the same cloth. I mean, it's a fact that one of them has a deeper pedophile sibling. So maybe it's deeper than we can see. I'm just saying. Okay, that was earlier, before 7. They got away for food for too long. It's time they give back some of the many dollars that they've made from the country, period. People are saying that you have to pay Matthew Leslie. Is that true? Pay him what? For what? I don't know anything about this. I mean, that's certainly news to me. What am I paying him for? Didn't I just win a lawsuit? The criminal conviction was overturned. So paying him for what? I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know anything about Matthew Leslie, but he would never get a dime from me, red cent or otherwise. No, sir. I don't know. I don't know nothing about Matthew Leslie. I don't even know if the dude's still alive in Belize because he over there scamming people and soon enough, they ain't get tired of his shit. Somebody said Frankie Flowers does that with the Filipinos. They go and roll over and he still makes them work and pay them cheap. He's not the only one. Lots and lots of people do it. This person says, morning, Sandy. Our government should put in place a sovereign fund from some of the fees from our financial services industry, similar to what Norway did for their oil industry. All right, somebody said earlier, Alicia Thompson is Caymanian off that list that we're looking at, Maples. Another person said Alicia is Jamaican, but went to school here. I guess she got status by now. But another person says, but hold on. Let me just screen grab this so I can read it online properly. Maybe they want us to place tariffs on other countries and let those countries pay for them, MAGA style. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. Just trying to grab some of these are older comments from this morning. Okay, good morning. Okay. There's a lot of scrolling. Sorry, guys. What facial expression you give me, says this person. That is so funny. Okay. So, Cameron Brack says, wake up and demand, take back your millionaire status. I got some comments that came in here. So let me put these up on the screen. This person says, speaking facts, Sandy, your friend, Denny Warren, that's you, is guilty of using these fees as a weapon, fear-mongering king. Great job, Sandy. Next person says, but there's certain fees that have not been raised in years and years. Example, work permit fees. Last time that must have been at least 15 years. That money, $1,500 that was given to civil servants, the premier and her government got that too. They could have said, no, we are not taking it. Oh, I know. Not a single one of them turned it down, honey child. Please, please turn down money. I guess they're claiming that they need it too for groceries. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I never said that I disapprove of level of fees. I believe that we shouldn't be separating out fees, saying Caymanian versus non-Caymanian.
Oh, really?
But how much? But how much? I never argued against that.
Say that again for me. So your point, which we haven't gotten to those fees yet, I suspect that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I haven't really debated the quantities. What I debated was whether
you don't like that it's being separated.
Yes.
I see.
But I didn't argue about the quantity. I agree with you that the amount of money flowing through this country is a lot that people don't fully appreciate. But what part of what my objection to the way of doing that is that you're hardwiring that kind of in your AI presentation, it talked about these fees being done on residency status, and that's not accurate. It's not residency, it's immigration status. right? Not whether you're on the island or not, like whether you're resident, but whether you're Caymanian or not is where the distinction is, right?
Okay.
So what that'll necessitate is when you go to pay fees, you'll have to prove whether you're Caymanian or not, which is where the digital ID comes in. That was my point about that. That's not fair mongering. I deal enough with bureaucracy to understand how they think, and trust me, they will be asking for your identification. In other words, if you come and you say, I'm Caymanian, so I shouldn't have to pay this higher rate, how would you demonstrate that you're Caymanian? You'd have to pull out your ID to do it. That was
or your acknowledgement letter, I guess, if you need one.
right, but
would
the government
you prefer for everybody to just walk around with an acknowledgement letter as opposed to an ID?
That you could your acknowledgement number is the same. Is the same.
No, they have to see the letter to know it's legit.
I hear you. I hear you. What I'm objecting to is a system where you can shake your head if you want, and you can act confused if you want. But the point that I'm making about digital ID is going to allow a degree of control.
Hold on a second, Bobo.
You are going to live to regret.
Let me make it very clear. Yes, that face was for you. So that your friends don't have to tell you later, well, I'm not sure if that face was for you, Denny. That face was but the face was for your comments, because I am a little bit confused.
Well, you can pretend to be confused, but if you can't understand why a digital ID poses the risk that it does, because this is not just another driver's license, like as in a number. This is a unique global identifier. You're talking about different animals.
You mean like a social security number?
No. Social Security is not a globally unique identifier.
In the United States of America, that identifies you. You go take a shit in the toilet, you better have your Social Security number.
That is not what a digital ID is. A digital ID is a globally unique identifier. In other words, the government is plugging into an international system of control. That is not what a Social Security number is. These are completely different animals. But I'll leave it there for now.
Thank you so much, Danny. All right, honey child. Okay, so we got a lot to unpack. We will get there. Lord have mercy. Digital IDs are the mark of the beast. Lord Jesus. You see, this is when y'all start going down these roads that people are just going to be like, listen, man-made hurricanes, mark of the beast, these types of conversations, I can't wrap my brain around. Like, I just really can't. You know, it reminds me of what was going to happen at the turn of from 1999 to 2000, the world was going to explode and everything too. We were all going to burn up because the computer couldn't get a date right. Diane, who are we paying for their good looks and great physique? Who? Here's another comment that came in. Sorry, this was earlier about the young man with the Kim Airways situation. So this person says, good morning, sis. He needs to take him dirty blood clot. Men love Jamaicans, you know, from the Cayman Islands. Who the fuck Kim think he is? Is because of wicked people like him make Jamaicans cannot enjoy the country of their birth. Let us get him off the island. Since he thinks Cayman is wicked, get the fuck out of here. He has me so fucking mad early in the morning, yeah. And trust me, this sister, she don't normally get this upset, you know. So you don't know, he definitely rubbed her the wrong way. Child, you're gonna have to say an additional little holy Mary when you go to church today. Yeah, Y2K, boy. That was going to be the end of the world. That was the mark of the beast, too. Ay. What a calamity. All right, I'm done. We'll pick up the conversation. We got a lot more deep diving to do. And we will get there. Ms. Sandra, please, can you look into driver's license having nationality on it? I just think it would make a difference. Well, we need to go back to this whole national ID thing. Which minister does that fall under now, by the way? I need to look into that. Taika says if you're a Panama resident in Panama, you get free medical, same as some other countries. They also do things for their people. So why can't Cayman do something for our people too? Taika, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because everything comes at a cost. So you might be getting free medical in Panama, but most Panamanians are seeking to leave that country to be able to actually make more money and have other opportunities. So getting free medical in Panama is not something that is making Panamanians stay in Panama. Okay? Let's talk straight now. Let me go to a different conversation here. You know, you can't make comments like that and act like Panama is the holy grail of something. You get free medical in the UK too, but nobody wants it because it's shit. You can't see a doctor for God knows how long. The average monthly salary in Panama in 2025 is reported between $734 and $1,288, depending on the sector and region, with national studies and wages tracking agencies. The median income estimates fall between, this is per annum, 22,000 to 26,000 Panamanian dollars, Balboa, which is equivalent to US dollars given the Panamanian currency system. You think if I'm making that kind of money, the cost of living is climbing. It's now estimated at about $1,064 per month, meaning many earn below the basic family living expenses. That Panama is the example? No, TD. We have to be careful when we pick out little things about, oh, free healthcare. Why can't Caymanians get something? Those models don't fucking work. Look, for example, at Venezuela. Oil rich, and they're one of the poorest places in the world with rolling electrical blackouts. But yet, resources. But because of political corruption, money-hungry people, dictatorships, poor leadership, those poor people can't do no better. So don't just give these random examples like they actually mean something. You got to put things in proper context. Yes, people get free healthcare in the United States of America, and you're more likely to die, not in the UK, you're more likely to die because you can't get an appointment. We had our cousin come here. His wife has a heart disease, right? Where she's going to be on medication for the rest of her life. And at any minute, that heart can give out. When she started to explain why that happened, because as a young lady, she had cancer and the cancer was so close to her heart that one of the side effects of the radiation was it actually messed up her heart. When she goes in, she wants to see a cardiologist in the UK with their so-called free medical. They tell her, nope, you don't need to see a cardiologist. They refuse to refer her to an expert, giving her medication that's actually continuing to damage her heart. So when she came here and went to Health City, they were like, they just gave you this medication and didn't tell you that monitoring this over the coming months is very, very important. You need to have these series of tests to see if this medication is actually helping. Because if it's not, you need to come off of it. Huh? Because if it doesn't help, it does more damage than good. And then you need to do these tests. No, she can't get to see no experts. Her GP's like, nope. Takes 2 years to get to an expert, a cardiologist. People dying from cancers and all kind of stuff. So please don't throw things out like that out there because it don't make no sense. Gabby says Canada has free medical too, but taxes are killing them right now. And it takes forever to see a specialist everywhere. have their good and bad. And some are far worse than you think. Free medical. Some of you were commenting on the taxes in Canada. 40% of our salary deducted. You said that. Even with our high cost of living, we still have it made because we don't get 40%. And in some entities, some corporate entities, I've spoken to Canadians, it's like 70-something% when they add it all together because they nickel and dime you on every little thing. So they might say, okay, it's only 20% income tax or corporate tax. But then that does include the other 30% that you pay for this and the other, you pay for employees and it all adds up. Nobody not got no perfect system, I can tell you that. Some of the European countries, like the Netherlands, the Dutch countries and stuff, they kind of get as close as you can get to being, workable. But I want to be clear with you. Every single time you say you want something free, because I know there's no free meals in this world, who's going to pay for that? Who pays for free medical? Are you willing to be taxed? Is that where we've come? Are y'all saying to me, let's just introduce direct taxation? Because if that's the thing, then we need to just tell the government to start taxing us. I'm just saying. Somebody says this Panamanian pay taxes. It takes about 4 hours before an ambulance for an ambulance to come. I don't even know if they pay taxes. This person says, oh, for fuck's sake. I make around $7,000 US dollars. I take home after $1,000 in healthcare is taken out, healthcare insurance. So you're taking home $7,000 US after $1,000 is taken out. That's the family plan. And it's probably a pretty good healthcare plan if it's $1,000 for family. That's probably like the BritK premium. You see, she said I have BritK premium. I can tell you, I know. Yep, that's the creme de creme of healthcare right there, honey child. This person says, very good show. Canada has free healthcare also, but it takes 2 years to get an appointment and up to 60% in various taxes. I had a friend wait 3 hours for an ambulance. The UK health is shit. Oh my God. Wow. Oh yeah. Oh, that's in the UK that it takes 4 hours before an ambulance can come. Lord God, let's hope it's not an emergency. This person says, no complaints with BritK. You pay for what you get. Lord God, an emergency, you'll be dead after 4 hours. So listen, nobody has a perfect system, and I'm certainly not arguing that our system is perfect, but you think every Tom, Dick, Harry, Javier, Julio, all come into Cayman because our system is so horrible? No. Coming back to this pint. What a pint. Let's come back to this pint now. It is so good that we have over 130 something nationalities here that don't want to leave. I'm just saying, know your worth. Stop your complaining and know your worth. That's all I can say. I'm not saying no more here today because we've gone over 3.5 hours already. Not enough talking. I'm going to go sit in the corner now and stop talking for the rest of the day. Don't call me. Do not pick up your phones and call me. I've done enough talking for the day. All right, tomorrow we'll have our show on Muslims in Cayman. Make sure you tune in for that one, honey chill. And then we are going to maybe have time, depends on how long that segment takes, because that's the primary. We might have time to circle back to some of the other fees. I believe the minister, I don't know if he's coming because cabinet parliament might still be going on Friday, so he might not be able to come. So we got to play around with that a little bit. All right. What is Princess Miss Glida would be proud. Aw, goodbye, teacher. Oh my goodness. You guys are just too sweet. Sweet like molasses, honey child. Sweet like brown sugar. All right, beautiful people. Thank you, Instagram. We're back on Instagram. I'm so glad I figured that out. Please have an amazing and wonderful day. Really appreciate you guys coming on. And thank you, Miss Barbara G. Says, thanks for a great informative show. You are most welcome, honey child. You know, we're going to be bringing more of this kind of deep dive caliber of programming for you. And this is one of the wonderful things about CMR TV is that we will continue to bring you this, and we are continuing to bring you a variety of different shows. So we got Marla Dukran up on Friday. Please tune in for her show. This is her own, this is the first time that she is doing a show in the Cayman Islands that is like her show. Like this is a big deal. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Queen. Prosperous Queen. Says, you too, I enjoy your program. Tune in. Weekdays, 7:30 a.m. Technically, we go online 7:33, so it's a few minutes after 7:30. Shaka Zulu says, did you see that Scotland Yard solved the Jack the Ripper? Really? I think they've always kind of known, but do they have DNA evidence when you say solve? We'll have to check that one out for sure. But anyway, please be blessed, folks. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful Hump Day Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll be back here for another hopefully engaging conversation. Stay blessed, folks.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.